late night on Saturday night, late night on Saturday night. I had a long day. I did some running around, but I said, you know what? I want to come hang out with the folks. Doesn't matter how many people are here. I wanted to come and hang out with y'all. I know it's late. I know it's late. I gave y'all time to run around Saturday night. Some of us are home, okay, and not running the street. So if you're not running the street, you want to hang out for a little bit, you want to kick it, welcome, welcome, welcome. You know who I am. You know where to find me, okay? Do I have to go over that? I don't have to go over that. If you're here for the first time, where the hell you been? If you're here for the first time, I'm not going to go through my whole spiel. Just check out another one of my videos and you'll know where to find me all over the World Wide Web, okay? So good to see you guys here. Hi. Tonight's topic, who's happier, married people or those involved in the hookup culture? And I think this is a good topic for a Saturday night because tonight, a lot of people are going to hook up. Yep, this weekend. Lots of people are going to hook up. People who have no commitment to each other or responsibility to each other. They're going to hook up this weekend, tonight specifically. You're probably going to hook up tonight. Or you probably already hooked up. Then we have some people in marriages who will go sexless all night and tomorrow, the day after, the day after. Now, with that said, I'm not beating up on married folk. Sure, there are married folk right now that are smashing. Okay? We're just asking the question. Who do you think is happier? I'm not answering the question. I just give my opinion. You guys can give your opinion. Who do you think is happier today in 2023? Married folk or people partaking in the hookup culture? I already see people answering in the chat. Tyrone said married people are happier. What kind of shit is this? Said, I was married 24 years and was miserable. I've been single for a year and a half in hookup culture, loving it. That's a long time to be unhappy. 24 years. My goodness. I'm glad you're free. Okay. Nobody should be miserable. Mark Randall, this is not your first time. Okay. Are you doing like one of those sluts that claims this is my first time? I've never done any of this before. You're a regular, sir. As a matter of fact, where the hell you been? Without another feather, let me bring up one of the block favorites. No Saint. How are you, darling?
Hey, I'm first.
Caught you. I got you.
Hey,
how are you? Lily's working. Lily's working. So I don't even know if she's going to pop up. I told her, hey, take your damn time. If you had a long day, I'll hold it down. It's just okay.
Well, I have another 8 hours and 40 minutes worth of overtime. This is an overtime shift for me. This is my third day straight working.
Ouch. Ouch.
But it's all good because when that check comes in, it'll be nice.
Wait, Mark Randall said, Jen, you got to glow tonight. You pregnant or beach trip? Neither. The fake bake. This, what you probably see is the fake bake. I go to the tanning salon, so that's probably what you see. I'm neither pregnant nor just fresh off the beach. I wish I was fresh off the beach, but I am not. But thank you. Yes, I am glowing. No Saint. Fireman, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So is it a lot of just waiting around, hanging out with the guys until a fire happens?
Well, weekends are always kind of lax. So kind of what you saw earlier today, I sent you a few things.
Mm-hmm. That looked like fun. It looked like fun.
On a weekend, that's kind of how it is. I mean, on a Saturday is almost like a half day. We have to knock out some training and stuff. And then, of course, if there's any calls. But during the week, we drill, we train. It's almost like an 8-hour day. Oh, we're here 24 hours, but you have like a full, you got to get the business done during the day, whether it's training or, going over your medical, you got to get because every 2 years you have to recert and certain things. So you have to have so many credit hours and things like that. So
really?
Yeah, it's not always sitting around. But
okay, you schooled me because I really thought firemen just sat around and ate and watched TV until they got a call.
No. But during the weekends, like tomorrow is really lax. Like Sunday's just like, okay, we're just gonna do what we have to do in the morning, check out the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
There's no classes tomorrow. I'm not working tomorrow, but I'm on a Sunday that I would work. No classes, just check out the trucks, eat breakfast, and then you have the rest of the day, kind of what you're talking about. But that's pretty much just on Sunday. Every other day, is a work. Well, every day is a work day that you work, but every
Mhm.
other day is more like a typical. You got to do things, get things done.
Okay, I'm just curious. So hold me down, folks. I'm just curious. No, say how often is there a fire? How often would you
Well,
say?
it really depends on where you work, right? Because and it really depends on like Detroit, for
Mhm.
instance, because they have
Mhm.
all those empty. I was in Michigan. It was a little bit busier because they had all those empty houses everywhere, abandoned houses that people would set on fire, things like that. Um, Here, we get more medical emergencies
Mhm.
than anything else, and also we have a flight line. Um, so we have a crash side and we have a structural side. So the
Mhm.
crash, you have like planes declaring like an emergency. We haven't had any since I've been here that have actually crashed, but you have hot breaks, you have a lot of different things like that. You have to go on. So yeah, there's things, but I've been on just for 2 fires here, but they've had more. Some days I'm just not working.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time out of your house, right? Because you have to be there.
Right. So this is my I have 72 hours on this shift because this is the first time since I've been here I've ever had overtime. But
Mhm.
um, I always work 2 days on, so 48 on, and normally like 3 days off.
Mhm.
But I couldn't turn down the overtime because
Interesting.
it's pretty. So it's at least probably like $600 extra when I work overtime.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
nice.
sheesh. Okay. I
It was
saw
worth
you
it.
send me the videos today that what was that, a crawfish boil or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
The little one that you grabbed, I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, he was flicking his little tail and everything, and
I
they
was
don't
like,
live long. Once you throw them in the water, man, that's it.
I no, Saint, it's boiling water, I can imagine. Can't imagine. I hope they die instantly,
It
actually.
kind of looks like they do.
It's terrible, but I'm sure it tasted yummy.
Yeah, yeah, for
Okay.
sure. And there's garlic in there. There's mushrooms, corn, potatoes. That all with the seasoning that you use for
Mhm.
crawfish that are just delicious. But you're not too much on spicy, so it probably
No,
wouldn't be good for you. Yeah,
it would
but
not be. So do you guys all take turns cooking or you have that one cook at every station?
there's a few. There's a
Okay.
few here that but yeah, they're taking turns. But there's a few that are pretty good cooks here. So
Mhm. So
everybody.
from Monday through Friday, how often are you at the station overnight?
So I work. It averages that I work 3 days a week at the station. I mean, it's not like, in other words, my schedule. I don't want to explain the schedule because it's just gonna be confusing. But every week,
Mhm.
so 6 shifts in 14 days, right?
Mhm.
So 6 out of 14 days, I'm here, sleeping here.
Mhm.
But it's broken up to like it's normally just 2 days, in one sitting. This is the one time I'm working 3 days, but normally it's just 2 days. But over 2 weeks, it ends up being six
Mhm.
days.
I would think, segueing into the topic tonight, who's happier, married people or the hookup culture? And by no means you don't have to like,
Hmm.
what I mean, divulge information about your marriage specifically. You can speak generally, right? Because I'm gonna speak generally. I'm not married and I don't hook up, so I'm gonna be speaking generally. But I would imagine, right? The way I'm built, an ideal marriage for me would be, I don't see my husband every day.
It's a nice break.
So I would think that your job is actually ideal for a marriage.
Yeah, it definitely breaks up. Like you get breaks. You get
Right.
break. Now I will say that with 3 kids, that's you know
All right. Yeah.
for a
That's hard
woman
on
staying
her.
home. Yeah, but it's very important. Like I could not, and that's why I've always said like I could not do this without her,
All right. Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
especially when they were young. Now one of them's going to be 18 this year. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? But when they
Mm-hmm.
were young, it's what am I going to do? Hire somebody to
Right.
watch me? You know what I mean? So, and also it's a lot of work. Puts a lot of work on. But, as you have said before, and some are better than others, some women are better than others. Women are built for that more
We're
than men.
we're pretty amazing with details. We're pretty amazing. It's almost like second nature. Like you're just on everything is on autopilot after a certain point. Um, Mark Randall says firefighters got a lot of cheating spouses, 24 hours on, 48 hours off. My
Yeah.
dad retired a firefighter. All my buddies are, and I was a volunteer firefighter for a moment. Nephew's a firefighter. Okay, so you're knee deep in firefighting over there, Mark. Um, Firefighters got a lot of cheating spouses. What do you say about that, No Saint?
Yeah. I mean, the opportunity, it's the same and it was the same in the military. The opportunity, especially when you go deploy somewhere, the opportunity for that is rampant. You hear stories, whether you're a victim or not, who knows?
Time will tell. Time will tell or not.
but
Time will tell or not.
but there certainly have had, through my career, you find out, or you may even know, you may
Mm-hmm.
even, sometimes, especially when you're on a base like in the military, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of know what's going on you can read the tea leaves, you can see somebody's spouse out on the, at the whatever, the NCO club or whatever, dancing with other guys. You know what I mean? It's like
Really?
they've had some really scandalous, a couple of scandalous times when I was in the military. Not on me, but just like one guy's wife that when he was deploying, all of a sudden she was showing up at the station and kind of giving the hint that open for business type thing. Yeah, but no, the opportunities for sure. And one funny thing that in the fire department we talk about it. It's like if your wife uh, gets a nursing degree
Mm-hmm.
or fake boobs,
Mm-hmm.
the next thing is the divorce.
Wow.
Because it kind of works that way. As soon as the wife gets that nursing degree or she gets some fake boobs, a divorce is coming next.
So let me ask you this, something I'm curious about.
Yeah.
When okay, when a man or a woman, whatever's deployed, then the spouse that's at home with the kids or whatever, that's an opportunity for them to cheat, right? So then they're like, yeah, that's cheating. But is it the same for the person that's deployed? Are they
Yeah.
out there cheating with people that they work with? Do you think it's the same?
Yeah, like and that was now that's for military I'm talking about now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
military.
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure. They're both cheating.
Eee.
Yeah, they go out and you're deployed 6 months. Some people during when Iraq was going on, people were getting deployed for a year. And it's just like, or you get the Dear John letter.
You
that.
can't send someone a Dear John while they're deployed.
Oh, it's happened. It's happened. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's like sending someone a Dear John letter when they're locked up. It's a no-no.
It's horrible because especially if the guys, not everybody's cheating who's deployed,
Right?
saying it happens, but especially if the guy's like really into the relationship and he gets that letter and just, I mean, it just, it ruins them. I mean, it the guy's not really, you know what I'm saying? It's like he can't really concentrate on what he's doing anymore. He's distraught.
Right. And I'm
It's
like,
just,
and you're deployed. Like it's
yeah.
wow, that's so sad. So it sounds to me like there are a lot of married people who are partaking in the hookup culture.
Yeah. I
Wow,
think so.
that's sad. Like I don't know. Like I think when you're were you a fireman before you got married or after?
Yeah. Before.
Oh, so she already knew what she was
Oh,
signing up
yeah.
for. She
Yep.
already knew. Okay. So I'm just like, it's sad. Like I could not do that. I could not send someone a Dear John letter and they're deployed. I would
Yeah.
be afraid for that person's life.
Listen, the stories out there, there are some bad Dear John and really bad things that have happened to people who have been deployed. Like, she's got control of, or he, I mean, it could be either, but of the finances. So, next thing you know, all this money, because when you go on a TDY, you're making like so much money a day, depending on where you're at. You can make like, and it goes in, and you're trying to take care of everything. And man, there's been some people left hanging to dry, like getting in trouble because they're not paying their bills because she's not paying the bills because she's spending the money and she's out. You know what I mean? She's got
Wow.
access. Yeah. It's, you
But
gotta
they
watch
get
out. But
married.
those, some of those marriages were never. In other words, I think some of that happens because it's a young couple. They get married young. He's going to the military, or they met in a tech. Well, not necessarily. Tech school, they'd both be in the military, and you'd get in trouble if you pull anything like. If she's in the military and he's in the military, they'd be trouble if that was happening. But like, oh, I don't want to leave you. Maybe they were high school sweethearts, or maybe, and so they get married too early, and, and they're just young.
But what I hear a lot about is getting married for the benefits. I hear that a lot in the military.
Yeah.
Like people just get, well, we've married, we get this, and that.
Yes.
But it just sounds sad. Like it sounds sad. Like I would hate, I don't know, if you're with someone in the military, you got to know they're going to be gone they could be gone for a while. So it's sad that I couldn't do it. I couldn't send a Dear John. Now maybe when he comes back, I'd be like, we got to talk about something. But I couldn't, like, while he's deployed, what if he offs himself? What if he offs someone else? What if he gets into a fight? What if I wouldn't have the heart to do that. Now, if I had to do it, I would just wait for him to come home. I couldn't do that while the man is.
That's really awful. It really is. Because you're already feeling like especially you're missing the person. You don't have anybody else. I mean, you may have your parent. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, like, you're leaving and you're with, this is your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well, she's got everything the same. I mean, she's got all the opportunities to go out, have fun, all these things, and you're just can't wait to go get back. And you're thinking about, it's bad. It is bad.
No,
I mean, it could happen both ways, but it's mostly men.
Yeah.
More men in the military.
Course.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm gonna start a freaking support group. Is your spouse TDI? What is it? TDYing? TDIing?
TDY, yeah, TDY.
All right. TDY support group. Sounds terrible. Mark Randall said, if you're wondering why it's so popular here, it's because big hunting, fishing culture. So having lots of time off for seasons makes FF to the go to the. Are you drinking, Mark? That just hurt my brain to read.
Sounds off. The season makes
I don't know what he's saying.
Go to. Oh, okay. So he's saying that like basically hunting season, it's very like it's the go-to firefighter is the go-to career for hunting if you're a hunter because you have certain time off to do it, where if you're doing a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, you're going to work, so.
Oh, okay. Firefighter FF. Okay. I was like, fast forward. What do you mean?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Don't forget, you can super chat me with a comment or support the show. Cash App on the block with Jen scrolling on the bottom. No, Saint, I was noticing something. I feel like 2023 is the year of reckoning, like with Andrew Tate and Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? I know those guys are two worlds apart, but I noticed that they have been incredibly humbled. Like they don't sound the same, right? Like now Tekashi, his latest video, he's out in Cuba giving out $50,000 in cash to the locals. And, he's talking about his life and his death. Like it's a completely different human being. And I'm like, they beat him into being a good Samaritan. He's so like humble and saying, they jumped me. And it's just a whole, it's a 180 from the Tekashi. I'm used to seeing on every podcast and every interview. Same thing with Andrew Tate, right? Andrew Tate did an interview. He was out and press was there, whatever. I don't know what press. I don't know who's following Andrew Tate like that, but whatever. He had cameras flashing and phones in his face. And he was just saying that he holds, maybe you saw it, he holds no animosity towards the Romanian government. He's just happy to be home. And he's working on just clearing his name. But he sounded so humble and so sweet. Like it didn't sound like the Tate of old, right? But then there was a video released where he's just walking back and forth, like real jacked, like smoking a cigar, like in slow motion. And I'm like, come on, Andrew. Like,
Well,
come on.
I'm just going to speculate, but with Tate especially, I'm not, I saw a little bit of the 6ix9ine interview. I didn't see Tate at all, but I imagine that when you're in trouble, you do what's best, the best thing you can do, which is to be humble. Like, when you watched when Trump got indicted the second time, he was out of office. He was quiet the whole time until they didn't convict, right? When he was not indicted, but impeached, and then he was quiet, right? I think that's kind of where, I don't know, but I would imagine that's what Tate's doing. If he gets off of his charges, or he'll be right back to what he's doing, because that's what gets him attention. That's what gets him views, followers, and nobody does it like Trump, but I imagine he'd be back to his old self.
Right. Did you see the statement that that Trump released on his the social media site he's always on? He was talking about like he's basically, it's interesting how much he tries to like rile up, you know what I mean? Even if I was a Trump supporter or a supporter of anyone to that degree, after a while I'd be like, are you trying to get me in trouble?
Right.
Are you? Because you keep asking me to do these things, run up in here and take over this and fight for you, and you haven't. Like, you're gonna put something on my books, you're gonna put something to my lawyer fees. Like, even a radical fan, I'd be like, all right, this is starting to get weird. You keep sending me places to do stuff on your behalf, and you're not doing anything for me. This is weird. So, I don't, the way he talks to his supporters, like they're literally, Trump, I'm talking about, he literally talks about his supporters like they're dogs. Like they're dogs.
Yeah.
Like, he like, attack. It's like, okay, I gotta choke my.
And then, he tries to lure him in by saying, like, this is not an attack on me, it's an attack on you. That's what he says. This isn't on me, they're attacking you. And and that's exactly, that's what's crazy is, like, I know the Department of Justice, I imagine they're going to indict him for January 6th. I know it takes a long time, but if anything, if you had a doubt that he should, if you sat there and said, well, it's been a long time ago and, they should just leave it alone. All you got to do is look at his Truth Social, where he's asking them to do the exact same thing, talking about people are going to get hurt. We need to take this country back, and then what's really disgusting to me is you look at some of the 24-hour news outlets and the people on there, and they are really, some of their rhetoric is dangerous, because they really do make it like an us versus them. The liberals and the Democrats are evil. I'm just like, Jesus, man. And I get there's MSNBC and there's these news stations that are on the left, but boy, you can find some that are just left of center, and nobody sits there and demonizes like the right is demonizing the Democrats, the far right. I'm talking about. It's an interesting.
But you notice, like, that happened also with the vaccine. I was like, am I the only? I feel so many times I've sat in this country, and I feel like the Twilight Zone episode where the monster was on the wing of the plane.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you not see what's happening? Do you not see? And then the people come over. What? I don't see anything. He's on the plane. He's going to bring us down. That's how I see it. I'm like, do you not see what's happening? Like what they did that with the vaccine, where it's like they made the people that didn't want to get vaccinated the enemy of the state. I'm like, do you not
Yeah.
see what they're doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
They even started calling this the unvaccinated's pandemic. Like they gave the COVID to us. It was our we were putting it out there. I was like, do you not see what's happening? And my thing was, I was like, and it'll always be, do whatever you want with your body. And if I am to catch a disease or whatever, not my body gave out.
Right.
It's my body gave out, right? It has
Okay.
nothing to
So
do with other people. I hated it.
and I understand, and I told you my sister and I had a little bit of a falling out because, and she felt attacked. Right? She was.
Mhm.
The problem I had is that she bought in to some of the misinformation that about things, right? But
Mhm.
I understand what you're saying, and this was always the thing. This was always the thing I said to people. Now, if the vaccine, whether it worked or not, maybe
Mhm.
they'll let us know one day. Did it really
Mhm.
work? Was it just a, you know? But the biggest issue, or the thing when people say, "Well, my immune system's going to do the work," or
Mhm.
it's better for me to get sick. They never look at they. I felt people
Mhm.
didn't look at the bigger picture. We could sit there. You can pull up here at the station
Mhm.
the hospitals around here and see who's doesn't have any beds, right?
Mhm.
So it people think it was about well, I'm not going to get sick and I'm not going to die, which is probably true for the younger people and for people our age, probably
Mhm.
true.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
was going to hurt the older people, but the problem was it was spreading so fast
Mhm.
and it was overwhelming the hospitals.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with the mask. Did the mask work? Maybe the mask worked a 0.5%, right? But
Mhm.
everybody thought, people thought, well, I don't have to wear a mask
Mhm.
because I don't care. Well, it's not. The difference is it's not. You're not wearing a mask to prevent you from getting the virus. You're wearing a mask to prevent from spreading the virus. It doesn't work. That's why,
Mhm.
when doctors wear a mask, it's not
Mhm.
so they don't get something. It's so you're not getting something from them when they're operating on you.
Mhm.
So I think that's, when you're saying that, what I do to my body, that works for most things. The problem was
Mhm.
that if it did work,
Mhm.
that you don't want this virus to keep reproducing. It's affecting everybody. So that's kind of,
Mhm.
people want to be individual, but it was really affecting everybody. Now, did the vaccines work? I don't know. I really don't know.
See, and that's the thing. It's the I don't know. And I'm like this across the board, like with everything. I'm like, listen, you want to jump off a bridge, vaya con Dios, right? But with that specifically, and I didn't have. Here's the thing: I wasn't. I didn't have a fight about it. I was just like, I just don't want to do it. It wasn't because, oh, I don't think it works or it doesn't work. I'm like, I haven't done vaccines my entire life, except for the ones that they told my mama to give me when I was a baby. Fine, polio, we cured this and cured that. I just didn't want to. Right? It was that simple for me. Now the mask I love. I still wear masks when I go to the gym, to Walmart. But for two reasons. It avoids people talking to you. Right?
That's true.
When you have a mask on, people can't tell if you're smiling, if you're happy or sad. They won't talk to you. And I know what you just said. A lot of people say it's not so you don't get sick. It's so you don't make other people sick. But I feel like it's also so people don't make me sick, because it's like, when people talk, they spit. Everybody in the gym is sweating and breathing through their mouth. And I'm just like, and I want to be in my little bubble. So I always wear my mask in the gym. I like it. I like the whole, what I mean? It's the closest I can get to a hijab without looking Muslim,
but
right?
you say something. So you did get the polio vaccine. I
Hmm.
mean, there are good vaccines out there, and there are vaccines that have. And what you've noticed is the people with the what I call the misinformation.
Hmm.
When shots cause autism. and all this stuff, right? And so they don't get shots for their kids, and now the measles are coming back. Things that we've eradicated are starting to make their way for people who are unvaccinated. Now, this other vaccine for the COVID, that's something different. We don't know, but
Yeah,
there are.
that was a whole, but that was a whole circus. Like even today, Fauci is saying, "Oh, oops, I didn't mean that," and oh, we kind of like missed that, and that's why I didn't like it. I didn't like the rush of it. I didn't like the misinformation on both sides.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't like the panic of it. I didn't. That's what I didn't like about it. I didn't, if it was like, "Hey, we get this vaccine, like the flu vaccine," but I didn't. I'm like, "Ooh, it's too messy. I want no parts." And
yeah.
I had COVID twice.
Me too.
First time, oh, it was trying to kill me. And you feel it. What's up, Virgo? And you feel it. I've never been that sick my entire life. You can literally feel. I was like, oh, I see why people died, because you feel it consuming every organ. Like you feel it's attacking your brain, and then it's like your brain won't go. So then you feel it attacking your throat, and it's like, fuck, we try to get it where the throat's not working. Then you feel it attacking your lungs. It's like it's literally trying to kill you. It's like you're still, and that's how I felt. That's how sick I felt. I still have what I think are like after effects of it, like a
Yeah,
year or two
long
years.
COVID.
Yeah, you get like the brain fog, and you're stuttering, and you're, pouring water
I,
in your cereal instead of milk, and you're like, what the fuck is
and that's what was so. And by the way, even before they started talking about this, I was really thinking about it, and I I do believe that it was a lab leaked, man-made COVID virus. Like China was messing with it and it escaped.
Okay, I
Because
agree with that. I
yeah,
agree with that.
because it was so strange. It affected different people differently,
Mm.
and I've
So you
never.
think it came from China? You think it came from
Yeah,
China? Like Trump
yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah,
China.
yeah. Yeah, I think yes, yeah, and I think it was out of a lab too. I think
Mm.
it was something that they were messing with. I don't know. I don't think it was on. I mean, I don't know if it was on purpose that they released it. I doubt it, because it hurt them as much as it hurt anybody else. Millions
Mhm,
of people
mhm,
over there died. You'll never get the real number, but a
mhm,
lot of people over there died. But it's so interesting because, like you said, for me, I had it twice. I had it before I got the vaccine, and then I had it like 2 months ago again. At least I know I had it twice, right?
mhm.
And Erica, it hit her bad. For me, the second time was lighter than the first time. It wasn't even hardly anything.
Same. Yeah,
Yeah,
same with me.
the
Second
first time
time
I
I was
lost my
like,
taste and my smell. The second time I just had it like a head cold, right?
yep.
And when people say, well, but the problem I always have when people say, well, it's just like a flu, or it's just like a cold. I tell you, unless you're older, unless like if you're in that population that's the elderly, like
Mhm.
I've never known anybody that died of the flu, but I had a guy that, well, he's not here anymore, but a firefighter. His brother died. He was in his 40s, and then we had three
Mm.
people that we ran on here. Two
Mhm,
brothers, young people, and the
mhm.
grandmother. They all died within, like, I don't know, 2 weeks. So yeah, it's not everybody's gonna die, but you don't know if you're gonna be the one that died. You
No,
don't
you just,
know.
I mean, I didn't know when
Yeah,
I'm sick. I was like, oh, this is how it ends. Okay, interesting. You just don't know, because your body feels so attacked, right? But I see why. So, I mean, I know three people personally who didn't make it past the COVID. Um,
that's wow.
three people I mean, it still hurts me, like when they're little, when Facebook shows you the memories, and it's like we're
Yeah,
chatting back and forth and stuff. And yeah, I still remember when I heard that they passed. I'm like, COVID, really? This shit is like, so it was very real. It was
yeah, yeah. No,
not.
no. But when people say, "Oh, it's just like the flu," I'm like, "Really?" I said,
No.
"I've never known anybody in our age bracket that died of the flu." I said, "It's not the
No.
flu," you know. And then the
I
other
mean,
one was, as
yeah.
soon as Biden gets elected, it's gonna go away. So I kept on. Oh, especially in the area I live in, so I kept
Hmm.
on needling that. I'm like, 2021. I was like, Biden. COVID's still around, man. I thought,
Yeah.
like, wow. Thought it was gonna be when Biden got elected. And going, oh, it's still around. Still,
I think they were, it's sad, because even the hospitals, the doctors, and they didn't know what the fuck to do with that. They did not know. I can imagine it's like when polio first happened. They're like, "What do we do? What is this? I guess people are just gonna die." That's how it looked to me, right? And then it was the saddest thing. The last person that I know personally who passed from it, like we were like talking in DMs. I'm like, hey, how you doing? You good? He was like, yeah, they're about to put me on this ventilator, but I feel great. I should be home
Ooh,
in like a couple I should be home in like a couple weeks, right? And I'm like, oh no, I keep hearing that every time they put that machine on, like it exasperates. And then but he sounded it. I still have the DM. He sounded fine. He was like, hey, I'll be home in a couple weeks. I'm good, blah blah. And then he
that
didn't
is
make
what's
it.
crazy. And I've heard like people started, like I think even the guy that worked here's brother was feeling better, and then wham, dead.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. That was I can say I hope we don't have another one of these happen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
Because
that
that was
was
it. You can feel it though. Like the first time was absolutely horrific. And then I was like, oh, I see why old people and young people and people with pre existing conditions can't fight this. Because I'm like, I'm perfectly healthy and I was having a hard time. I was like, you can't taste, you can't smell, you can't. Very, very bizarre situation. I've never been that sick in my life, but I made it through. But it was
thankfully.
rough. It was real bad. The headaches, you feel like someone is like a sledgehammer. You know what I mean? It's absolutely hard. But then the second time was just like I was feeling kind of ill, but I was like, no, this can't be because it doesn't feel that bad. But then the doctor was like, yup, it's good. I'm like, again? What the fuck?
Yeah,
You
thankfully
know?
we're over like it's weakened enough now. Enough people have had it now to where it's never going to go back to lockdown type stuff. It's just going to be the cold. Now it is like the cold. Now it
Right.
literally is
A
like
really bad cold.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna start seeing, over the counter medicine like flu for, what I mean, NyQuil. It's gonna be like NyQuil for your COVID. Do you?
right.
Like, it's gonna be over the counter. You got COVID? Here you go. Take some COVID Tylenol. Um,
See, you really,
Creepy,
what
scary.
you've had the chicken pox, right?
Yes, I think so.
So, I mean, because before they didn't have vaccines when we were kids for chicken
Mm,
pox. Now they
mm.
do. So my kids never had chicken pox, but I'm telling you, you're getting to that time in your life. I've already had the shingles vaccine. You do not want the shingles.
What's the My brother had that,
The
but I don't know
shing.
what.
So basically, the chicken pox is already in your. It's living inside you because it's another herpes simplex virus, right? Chicken
Uh
pox is,
huh.
but it's living inside your body, and for many people, it reactivates when they get a certain age, and I got the listen. I just know from what people say,
And
but
it reactivates into
it
shingles.
reactivates. It reactivates, but it's not this. It's not like the chicken pox. It's like part of your skin is scaly. It's painful. Like the nerve endings, super painful. So yeah,
You
like you can.
see, no saint. This is why I'm celibate. This is why I don't want nobody touching me. This is why I wear a mask. This is why I stay home. I was in Walmart today, and I was already like, there are people here. I was like, there are people looking at me and touching things. I'm gonna turn into like a crazy old lady. I'm like, don't touch me. Don't look at me. Don't breathe. Don't. Yeah. It's scary. It's
You got
scary.
to look that one up too. The shingles.
Yeah, because
Something to look up.
I remember my brother mentioning it. And I don't know what the fuck it was, but that sounds gross. Like you get red and scaly,
Yeah,
like
and
the
it's
guy from
very
Game of
painful,
Thrones.
and like you can't like if you get it on your head, you're not gonna be able to lay. Like anytime you touch it, it's very painful, or on your back, so you have trouble sleeping. But it's already inside you. It's living inside you. It's just whether or not it's gonna activate. Yeah,
Oh god,
but there's a vaccine for that.
there's a vaccine for that. We have an app for that. That's that's Anyway, um, Virgo said if you read the Lysol spray bottle, COVID been around. I still
Yes,
wear a
yes, I know.
mask.
That's one of those. That's one of those. Listen, read deeper into your information. Yeah, COVID's been around. COVID's not new.
Hmm.
It was this
Right.
version of COVID. COVID
Yeah,
is
that's
a
what Mark
respir-
Randall said.
COVID is a respiratory infection, and it's been around forever. But this was a different. We had not been exposed to this particular version.
Yeah.
And if China messed with it, which, like I said, I lean towards thinking that's what it was. It was really, yeah, it wasn't the same as the Lysol can. The one on the, I mean, Lysol can kill it,
Right. And but it was so funny when that was like cycling on Facebook. Look, it's a conspiracy. It's been
Yeah.
around. It's been around. I was like, oh Lord. Mark Randall said I still wear masks in some situations like planes, and I only did one dose. So I'm that middle of the road type. I feel like everything in balance and common sense. There's a couple of people still wear masks. Listen, like I said, it's my baseball cap, my hoodie, and my mask. That's the closest I'm gonna get to a hijab.
Well, the one dose, I don't know how Mark Randall, that first dose I had, I felt it was bad. That when I first got, the first dose, I felt sick for about a day. I mean, it knocked me out. Like I had a little fever. Second one, I didn't have a problem without. And that was weird. That was weird about the vaccine. The first one, they give you a shot, and it's like that. I think the MMR vaccine, where your which is mumps, measles, and rubella, where your
Mhm.
arm is sore. Like if you touch it, it's sore. It's hot. That's how the first shot was. Second shot was like nothing. I don't know. It was weird, man. It didn't do anything.
Yes, yeah. Mm.
And I got the
Um,
three. I got 3 shots.
oh, fun fact. Mark Randall says corona is Spanish for crown. I knew that. And
Yes,
most viruses are corona
and it's
viruses
beer
because
too.
the spikes.
Yes, and it's a beer too.
Yes, corona. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, I didn't think I was going to be talking about this tonight, but I
No, no,
love
but it's
it.
always fun. It's always fun to talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to talk about it. This shit was real. I mean, people were fighting over toilet tissue. It was real out here. I was like, you know what's funny? That during the entire if I'm lying, I am flying. I didn't buy one thing extra in bulk, not one. Oh, maybe I bought 2 bottles of the Clorox Lysol wipes than normal. I would
Yeah.
usually get 1. I got 2 because I was like, all right, these idiots don't know how to act and they're buying everything out the stores. But I did not buy anything extra ever. I didn't get extra bottles. I didn't even get extra bottles of water. I was just like, I don't know. Maybe it's dumb. Maybe I should have stocked up, but I was just like, I'm not, you guys, I can't deal. I can't deal with
It
you guys.
was a lot of people overreacted. I'm with you. I mean, I did buy the toilet paper in bulk from Sam's because they
Oh,
sold
yeah, I
they
always
sold
do that
it.
anyway. Yeah.
It's like I
Mm.
mean, who needs this much toilet paper? But we bought it because it was hard to find, if you remember. But
Yep.
like I found that after everything ended, the break in the supply line was more like that was I noticed things not being on the shelves more after the pandemic, after the
Hmm.
results of everything shutting because
Right.
like still to this day sometimes you're going like, man, when are they gonna fill these shelves, man? What's going it was
Right.
just
Like
weird.
when the reason why like I when I did buy something in bulk, it was because all right, you idiots are gonna buy it all up, and then I don't want to be, but not because I was panicking because the COVID was gonna, it was like all right, you idiots are gonna buy this shit up, so I gotta buy extras. I mean, even to the point where my hairstylist was like, "We can't get it where we are. Can you get some for me where you are at?" And I was like, "Fine, I'll bring them." It was so ridiculous. Like she couldn't even
Yes.
find toilet tissue. I was like, "I'll bring you
That was
some."
the I really want to know what was behind the toilet paper run because that was the oddest thing ever. like
I don't
like
know.
toilet paper. Why did somebody say I better get a lot of toilet paper because we're what they think it was going dark and we were and that was the one thing they knew they might need out in the woods. I mean, I
Like,
can't.
did they think that they were gonna be shitting more?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
that was so
know.
odd. Not water, not not other thing, not the toilet paper run.
I
That was
mean,
so crazy.
fist fighting. I was like, "No, this can't be real." I was just enjoying seeing the little ducks on the highway. I mean, that's all I was doing. I was like, "The little ducks are on the highway. Can everybody breathe in, breathe out, and look at the ducks." Like, it was horrible. Um Oh my God. Anyway, so Mark Randall says, oh no, I wanted your other comment, Mark. You were talking about the hookup culture. Where are you? Where are you? It was interesting. Okay, here it is. Mark Randall says, hookup culture is very shallow and most people become very annoying. Most hooking up takes place under the influence and based on superficial attraction. And then you're stuck dealing with awareness. After. Now wait a minute, Mark. If it's just a hookup, I can imagine it's going to be very shallow and very
Hmm.
superficial because you're not planning a future with these people. But the question remains, um, who do you think lives a happier lifestyle? People that hook up or people that are stable in marriages? Do you think it's even? Do you think there's good and bad in both? I mean, would the divorce rate, because we can't hide from that, would the divorce rate, right? Is it telling that people are not happy in marriages? I mean, we had the gentleman here. I was married and miserable for 24 years. That's a long fucking time. And now he says he's hooking up and he's loving every bit of it. So where does that leave us? Wait, Mark Randall said, I bought the toilet paper pills. You can buy bags off Amazon. You wet them, they turn into baby wipes. Easy to store, so small.
Okay, that's interesting.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the ones that are crushed, like really tiny, and then you wet them and they turn into regular
Yeah.
little wipes. Oh, that's interesting. That sounds like really cool for like camping and stuff. Okay. Oh, I mean, this is another good point. Virgo says staying in the house means eating and pooping.
I don't think. Yeah, but I just don't think that it increased that much. I just don't.
I'm like, how much are you shitting? Are you nervous and shitting? What is going on? What is wrong? Oh, he meant awkwardness, and you're stuck dealing with awkwardness
Oh,
after. I was like, awareness. What are you aware about? Well, awkwardness, awareness. He said healthy, married. So you vote for uh people that are married or happier. That's fine. And what do we get? His name is hilarious. What kind of shit is this? It's fucking hilarious. He said I was married 24 years and was miserable. I've been single for a year and a half in hookup culture and loving it. And then I remember Glenn was here. He was like, "You can't pair bond when
right, right, right.
women sleep around."
Well, I think that I think that listen, when it comes to the hookup cult, and it really obviously, and I hate to say it because I know what you're talking. I know you know this and everything. It really depends on the person, but
Mhm,
and what they're looking for. But I think in general, the hookup culture is exciting for a
mhm,
little while. I think a
mhm,
lot of people who do like your guy who's married 24 years. I mean, I think and who knows what kind of marriage he had, but I think when he looks back, he's looking at maybe how it ended. But there was a
mhm,
time where he was probably happy in those 20 years, or, he enjoyed it because I think both have benefits and both have, you know, uh, negativity or I'm trying to look for the word, but both have benefits. They both can be good. Like there's
mhm,
nothing like having a stable relationship.
mhm,
Um, I don't know if maybe you have different experience. Maybe you say not really, but there, like for a guy going out to a bar, playing, doing all those, trying to meet people, and then it's kind of nice when you do have a stable relationship and you know a person. But when you meet people, and this even happens after you're married, you'll meet people. There's an excitement of meeting somebody who hasn't heard all your jokes. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And maybe you have some things in common with that person. But I
mhm.
think on a whole, I would think, I don't know, but I would think that there is some validity that hookup culture is kind of empty. It's fun, but eventually, and I'm not saying the answer is get married either, but eventually
Mhm.
it's going to be like, I need something more. I need something more. It can't just be
So
the
let me push back a little bit. Just
okay.
a little bit. Haran DeMarco says people no longer see much of an incentive in marriage, both genders. Ryan Adams says hookup culture because there's no headache afterwards. So here's what I want to say. First of all, hookup culture. Are they just like giving it a cute little name now? Wasn't that just one night stands when we were growing up? Like when we was in our 20s, weren't they just called
Yeah.
one night stands? And now it's like a culture. I don't know when it became a culture. I think people that hook up just hook up and that's how they live. But apparently now it's a culture. Okay, great. Let's put that on the table. So when you say things like, and you have a very big heart, No Saint. You are the saint. You're the saint of the block. I know your name is No Saint, which is really ironic. It's like when Native Americans give us names, like
Yeah.
No Saint is the saint. Is it's funny. So when you say, hooking up, like it's fun for a little while, but then you're gonna want something, more substantial, more solid. I don't think that's the human being of today. That was probably us, I'm thinking. And I
Mhm.
could be wrong, but since we're speculating,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
speculate, right? I just think the people of today, like, remember when we used to say, oh, the microwave society? I think now it's like 500 miles per hour. Like people don't even pause to feel. They don't even pause to feel their own hurt and pain and loss. I've seen people post, it's weird now. I've seen people post, pray for me, my grandmother's dying. And then, oh, pray for me, my grandmother's dead. And then the next post is like, did you see what Beyonce did? That motherfucker. I'm like, dude. And then it's like it messes with your mind because you're like, but the little praying hands, is it personal? Should I give the heart emoji? What do I do? And then you see them post about Beyonce 5 minutes after the grandma died, and you're like, oh, okay, they're okay. Like it's like the human being that's being conditioned nowadays, I don't think is going to have that hole that we would have had. Like, damn, I want something deeper with more meaning. These people are like, let me shoot this dinner so I can post it on Instagram and see how many people reply. You know what I mean? It's weird now. People are weird now. So I don't think the people that are hooking up now would get tired of it per se, because they're going to be like, what's the alternative? A marriage, a boring marriage, a boring marriage with a person that's going to interrupt me when I'm answering my DMs and when I'm counting how many people gave me hearts. Like that's the alternative,
Yeah,
right?
I know what you're saying. I don't think, I'm not saying marriage is the answer either. I'm saying that I think in general, people want more meaningful
You think?
relationships.
You
It doesn't
think?
mean, but I don't think that means marriage. That can just be you have a
Mm,
year relationship, and then
hmm
the next person. I mean, I kind of believe that, and because I don't think that all these people on Instagram or
hmm
whatever, the people making money, yeah, they're into it for sure. But I'm just
hmm
talking about the basic people on there. I really I can't imagine that getting somebody a like or a heart
hmm
is that fulfilling over time. Like,
Oh, no saint, no saint.
no,
Do you
what I'm
not
saying
see
is,
people are addicted to this? I
yes,
mean,
yeah,
they're in
I get it, but
marriages.
I'm saying time will tell. But
Mhm.
I, I think people are going to start questioning. Like, there's got to be more meaningful stuff out there than someone, give me a like or a heart or,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know, I don't know.
I
It
mean,
never,
I see what you're saying, but the problem is we've never dealt with an animal like this before. Social
right?
media is a different animal, and I keep telling people we're learning this in real time because we've never
Yes.
experienced it. Now, 50 years from now, we're going to be like, remember that social media thing and what it did to us? But since we're learning it, we're in real time. This is what I've observed, right? Tyrone says being single gets corny. Not for me. Well, anyway, but I have other goals. Um, you know, uh, Here's what I've observed. Even those people that are quote unquote, and I'm talking about the people that profess to be in the best of marriages and their wives fuck them all the time and suck them all the time, and they're living great. I observe. I sit back and I observe. It's kind of like being sober where everybody's drunk. That's why I said the other day, you young girls who are going to be hanging out in that situation, be sober and just watch everything, right? So
Yeah.
as a single person, I'm like sober from marriage, right? So I'm watching all the married people. And I'm just laying in the cut and I'm seeing how they walk and talk and how they carry on online, right? I'm looking at the flirting levels. I'm looking at, you know what I mean? I'm like, this is very interesting. And I'm watching all of you. And I see that even this social media thing has everyone by the balls. And this is where it gets dangerous to me, that it's not just the miserable people, because it's easy for miserable people to look for an alternative to fill that hole, right? But I'm even seeing people that are quote unquote happy, or at the very least content in their marriages, and they prefer to be online talking to strangers and enjoying the company and
Yeah.
conversation of strangers. And it's becoming the bar, like going to the bar,
Yeah.
and I need this drink, and I'm having more fun talking to the bartender and the people that come up. And if there's a beautiful woman or a beautiful guy, I'll flirt with them a little bit. And it's more fulfilling than what I got back home. I've seen wives after a while and husbands after a while walk into the frame. And I've seen it happen over and over again. Okay. Where it's like the individual first will cam up, cam up, cam up. It'll be weeks, months, right? And then after a while, the spouse starts, I'm in the frame now. I exist. For the fucking record. I've seen it. I'm like, and you look at people, right? And I'm like, I mean, you're at work, so you're not at home. I mean, your wife is not there. So what else
Right.
the fuck are
Right.
you going to do, right? But I've seen people at home, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, where's your wife? Or where's your husband? Oh, they're asleep. Now, I don't know. But if I was married and I'm upstairs in the bed and your fucking ass is on some YouTube panel to 1 o'clock in the fucking morning, when I can be getting some ass or some conversation or some cuddling, there's gonna
Yeah.
be fucking hell to pay. But these people, I notice they can't help it. There's this lure here. And that's where it gets dangerous, that even when you're happy and you're content, because I believe there are marriages that are happy or at the very least content. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
We're a good
Mm-hmm.
partnership. Even those people are being lured by these machines, right? And I've seen husbands come in the frame and start an all out battle with the men that were on the panel. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Well, so there is. I know what you're saying.
Mhm.
Uh, and you're. I've heard you on here, so I know your personality. You're very possessive, right? You're very possessive.
Yes.
So I understand what you're saying. Like just from what you're saying on here, like you wouldn't have it. Like if your man's on here talking to a bunch of women. But what I want to say is this: that like for me, I've always been very social. Personally, I've always been when I was younger, and it slowed down once I had kids because then you're busy, and then if you have friends that are already their kids are already grown,
Mhm.
they're in a different space. They're in a
Mhm,
different
mhm.
space. So for me, I always thrive on meeting people, talking to people. I have to.
Yeah.
It's my brain. I got to hear. I can't just be. It's
I'm
nothing
the
against.
same.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah. I have to interact with people. So this has been really good. The whole YouTube and everything
mhm,
because I don't have to. I can still be home. My kids are home. I do stuff with my kids. Okay, let me go on here and interact, because I don't have right now, at least I'm
mhm,
still in the midst of raising kids and stuff. I just don't
mhm,
have the opportunity that I need. And that is miserable. When you like, especially listen to my job, right? So like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna be home and I would have been home
mhm,
this whole weekend, but tomorrow I'm gonna be home. It's a Sunday. But
mhm,
there's
mhm,
days I'm home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when nobody's there. They're
mhm.
working or at school and my job like I said, there's other people working, like anybody that you would interact with is working, and
Right.
it can be like, golly, man, what am I doing? You got to kind of find yourself because
Mhm.
it's really a lot of time to sit around and be depressed if you don't, you know what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that takes me to my next question. Hold on. Mark Randall says, okay, Jen, how about this? Once again, all about balance. I'd say being in a committed relationship, but swinging. Still ain't got to try it yet, but I think it's a great compromise. Yeah, I mean,
If
why
you
not?
can pull it off and you can get somebody to agree with it, I don't see any problem with that.
Hey, if you like it, I love it. Haran DeMarco says you have to be built for hookup culture. If you
That's
need
true too.
companionship, don't do it.
That's true too.
Don't do it. That was actually going to be my next question. I wonder sometimes what people would be doing without these, you know what I mean, the social stuff that we do. Because I love it as well, right? Like I'm like, oh, let me go hang out. But I'm a single person, so and I
Right.
don't have young children, so I don't have the responsibility of, you know, I don't have anything tugging at me. Like, let me pay attention to my husband or my boyfriend, or let me pay attention to my children. So I'm like, hey, you know, I'm here. What's up? Where the party at? Um, you know, but I wonder what people would do if not for social media. Would the bars be more full? Would the hookers be having more action? Like, I wonder what people would do, right?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of crazy because we've had it now for quite a while, and it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to remember what it was like before it was around. Like, what were we
Mm-hmm.
doing? Um, yeah, I don't. If they cut it off, what would we do? What we? I don't know.
Right.
You know, maybe there would be more of an effort to get out there and
I
you
think
know,
there'd be no choice. You'd have to take your ass out there because you'd freaking drown in your home in the four walls.
yeah.
Mark Randall says he thinks hookup culture came with dating apps
Not really. I think it makes it easier though. Well, it
because
makes it easy.
nowadays, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Read it.
Because nowadays people talk online and it's kind of agreed upon before meeting in the flesh that it's a Netflix and chill hookup.
So, I say the apps made. I see what he's saying. Like the apps are known for that. Where if you go to a bar, you don't know if you're gonna meet a hookup or not. You know.
Yeah, he just said that right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He just said that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Oh
So
my
like the Tinder and things like that. That kind of an app and as we talk about on this show, it really isn't for that those apps aren't for every guy, you know.
God. Mm,
It's only like the top percentage that get any action on there, you know. So
mm.
and then you get catfished. Then you get catfished. So
Virgo said, Jen, you a sleuth. Yes, I'm always watching. Who are comparing for
quite a hat.
phone? Huh?
That's quite a hat he's got on. It's pretty big.
Who? Oh,
Virgo Smith.
Virgo Smith.
Yeah.
Big old hat. Um, Ryan Adams said, pay for it. Why not? I was in one of my marriages and had a full on relationship on a website called Second Life. You know what's funny? That I feel like now YouTube and social media is Second Life. I don't know what Second Life is, but it sounds like you had a whole situation going. There's
I
a website
was
called
second.
Second
I
Life.
wonder if ask him. Well, I'll ask him. Is that like that game? Is that like not a game like you're playing a video game, but there was that whole thing where
Mm.
you could buy an apartment and like currency, and you had a set like a your own avatar, and you could be whoever you would be, and they like it was a whole city built within a computer that
Hmm.
was pretty serious. I don't know if that's what that is that he's talking about, but interesting.
He said he had a whole relationship, a whole other
Yeah,
life going. Haranza Marco says people in the entertainment industry may be more so built for hookup culture, at the very least conditioned. Regular people hit or miss. I gotta agree with that. I really do have to agree with that. I think conditioned because it's like they're always traveling, they're meeting hundreds of people on a regular, and those people will be interested in them. So it's easy to you cut the rigmarole of, hey, what's your favorite color? They're already good to go. They're well oiled because you're in the business and what you do. So
yeah,
they're ready to go.
and if you're not in the business with them, like if you're the high school sweetheart that
Mm.
married somebody and then they hit it big, um, yeah, that's not going to end well. Like if you look at like the people like say Ozzy Osbourne
Hmm.
um, and Sharon knew he was with other women, She married him, and she wasn't. It wasn't a big deal for her because that's what I'm saying. Like if you're not in the business too, it's gonna be tough because I don't know any woman or man that can be in those situations, traveling around the world, having people throw themselves at you that aren't going to take advantage of that situation. And so if you're married to somebody like that, either you're gonna have to either you have expectations that are unrealistic, or you're gonna have to accept it.
Yeah, that's what we were saying about Jonathan Majors. It's like you have to. And honestly, I think the reason why the starter wives probably get divorced is because they can't, like you said, they can't deal. I think if they were to deal and be like, you could do what you want and I'll just hold it down with the kids, I think they'd stay married.
Yeah.
But I think they cause too much friction for the guy. And the guy's like, well, I want the hot chick anyway. And the hot chick wants me. So you can go. Like you can go. Right. And I think they flip out, but I'm like, I wouldn't sign up for it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I know you couldn't.
Yeah, I'm not built that way. I'm just not built that. One day, maybe when I'm 95, I'll be like, okay, honey, you can mess around. But no, I can't. I can't even. Just the thought of it makes me laugh. Like I'm like, like I can't do. I can't. That's why I would never date someone in the business seriously. I'm like, come on,
Well,
bro.
and this is what I find interesting listening to you over the time is that, like, I think you must know that relationships for you are going to be just, well, I know you've had long relationships, but yeah, I know you have, but I'm just going to say, that they aren't like, you don't have a fairy tale imagination of how relationships are. I think that they're going to be short, or at least temporary, because you are very possessive for someone who knows, all the temptations out there for yourself as well. You have a lot of temptations.
Crazy.
What
is that, a paradox? Am I a paradox?
Yeah. And I think because you almost view relationships as as what you think about a marriage. Like, this is my husband, this is my wife. We're together. We're not going to cheat on each other.
I licked it. It's mine.
Yeah.
That's it. I licked it. It's mine, bitch. Wait your turn.
Very possessive, yeah.
Wait till I'm done with them, bitch. And then you can have at it. But yeah, I don't, and I'm not even going to lie. No, saying like I've tried, like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I don't know if it's the Puerto Rican thing. I don't know. Because it's not, people automatically say, oh, you're insecure. I'm not. I know I'm a bad motherfucker. Like, I get naked and look in the mirror like I'd fuck me. Okay. I'm just saying. It's pretty damn hot. Okay, me in the mirror. So it's not a thing where it's like, I appreciate other beautiful women. I like to be around them. I like to have them around me because you just look better when you're hanging out with other beautiful people. And you know how I am. You know how I am in that department. I love people to look good and feel good. So it's not that people automatically like, you're insecure. I was like, I'm a lot of things. Insecure is not one. Trust me.
No,
I'm the opposite, actually. But it's a thing where it's like, don't touch my shit, right? Like, I don't know why I'm that way. Like, I cringe, and this is gonna sound psycho. I cringe when I hear like my man or someone I'm looking at to be my man when they talk about other women's beauty. I'm like, fucking see it. You can acknowledge it. And when you hang out with your boys, you guys can talk about that all fucking day. Like how big her ass is, how beautiful. I don't want to what do you want me to do with that information, sir? What would you like me to do with that information, sir? Like, you have to understand, my ideal relationship is the one from the movie, what is it, Inception, when it was just them two on the 10th dream floor, and it was only them two on the whole planet. That's my dream relationship. I can't have that. Therefore, I don't want to hear. It's not when I think about relationships, and I was telling somebody this recently, why I don't want to hear about your ex. What is that information going to do for us?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is it going to strengthen us? Is it going to make me feel better about you? Is it going to give me information that's going to better me? Like sometimes people talk about stuff that I feel just has it's fluff. It's like it's nothing. It's like, and I cringe. Like I'll be interested in a guy or whatever, and he'd be like, "Yo, I was with my partner the other day. He met this girl, and he really likes her, but she's bad. Yo, that girl's beautiful." And I'm just sitting there like, what do you want me to do with that information?
Listen, I think there's I think there's a way you can say it and not say it like that.
What's wrong? What's wrong with me? No Saint, help me, no Saint. What's wrong? I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it.
One thing I've never had an issue with, as far as Erica goes, is we can acknowledge if a person, like, I even ask her, like, do you think this person's good looking? If I think the person, like, I'll look at, I'm like, man, is that good? You think this person, because I want to know if I'm off, like thinking this person's good looking, and she'll either, but she, everybody has different tastes, and sometimes her taste isn't the typical jawline guy, right? I mean, she married me. but what I was gonna say was that so we have this thing where, but I wouldn't tell her like, oh, this bad, oh, so and so, and this girl is bad. I wouldn't say it like that, but I mean, it's like
right. That's what happens to me on the inside.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, but I have no problem. She has no problem. Like, you find, because she'll find some women pretty. What do you think about this lady? Is or like my obsession with Selma Hayek.
Salma.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think with you, I don't think it's unreasonable. I think your thing is, like you said, it's not self-esteem, or it's not, I think it's, you like the feedback, and so you want the feedback to be on you, and you don't want, you want it all to be you, right? You don't want,
yes.
Yeah. It's not like,
I am the leading lady. If I am in your movie, I'm the leading lady. There's no such thing as 5 leading ladies. It is the one, and I am the one, and we are together. Haran DeMarco, Haran, if you came up here to tell me I'm crazy, I don't need to hear it.
I ain't got to tell you that.
Where are you, sir?
I'll tell you that. I might tell you water is wet, but
Where are you?
I just came back from the movies.
How was it?
John Wick. Oh, that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy.
What movie?
John Wick.
John Wick.
Oh.
Did he catch 5,000 bodies?
Probably 12. After a while, it just got ridiculous like that.
Your sound is off, Haran.
You can hear me?
No, it sounds like you're underwater.
You can hear me now?
It's not better now. It wasn't your hoodie.
It wasn't the hoodie. It's like, it sounds like a robot.
It's just probably the connection. I'm on my phone right now.
You look hella clear. You look super clear, but the sound is off.
Yeah, it's my camera is the shit on this phone.
I know. I'm like, this is where you need to cam up. You need to cam up with that camera right there.
I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, wow, this is a dope camera, man. Like, I want to cam up with this shit more often. Dude,
that shit look high def like a mug, but your sound is terrible.
Maybe come back in. Like,
probably. I'll probably do that.
Try to come back in, because the picture is great.
You know what I mean? I'll try to do that. Give me a second.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So no, see, that's what it is. Like I'm very spoiled in that area. Like, I am the leading lady. I don't even give a fuck if it's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if it just make me feel like I am the one. And that's how, I don't know, some people may say it's a love language. That is how I'm able to be all I can be for you, because I feel like I am the center of your world, and then I feel appreciated, and I'm like, yes, no one exists but me. You want some more head, baby? Like, it's my love language, so I respond that way. But if I feel like, oh, I'm bad and she bad and she bad, then who's special? Then nobody's special. Then that's just how you speak about women in general. But I date black men, and black men have the tendency to appreciate beauty in a very primal way. Can we talk about it, people? Oh, where's the bell? We're talking race. No,
I
saying
don't have a bell. I gotta get a bell. I gotta get a permanent bell.
you need to keep the bell with you. We're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
race. But I think that black men have a very primal way of describing a woman's beauty. They can't just be like, "Oh, she's a good looking girl." I can accept that. No, saying I can accept
Yeah.
she's a good looking girl. She's okay. Like, oh, I didn't notice. Like, she's a good looking girl, I guess. If you're looking for good looking women, but it's like she bad. Like, what would you like me to do with that information, sir? And then it turns me off. Like, you want to dry up a cooch? Talk. I mean, Nevada, bitch, Nevada. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to hear about other women like that. And I've told men before in the past, I'm not your boy. I'm not your homeboy. I know I'm fun to hang out with because I got these masculine tendencies and it's like being with a guy you can fuck. But I'm not. Like, I'm not your boy. So I don't need to hear about another woman in that language. It turns me off. It turns me off because it's like, oh, you just like beautiful women are a dime a dozen to you. And you look at all of them that way. So what the fuck? I'm not special. What the fuck? Suck your own dick. How about that? Or go get her, since she's so bad, since the waitress was so bad, right? She looks so good. You fucking go get her then. Fuck off.
With my girl from California that I mentioned on here before.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Haran said he's headed home. Boo. That picture was so fucking clear, man. That was a nice picture. All right.
Yeah. So I was young. I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a tendency when I'm talking to people, and even today, when I meet people from other countries, especially, but this was just in general, when I'd meet somebody and we'd have a conversation, I'm all in. I'm staring. I'm looking. I'm all like, and we were going to, we were flying from California to New Orleans. I was bringing her. It was going to be this 2-week trip. We actually went to Florida and we went to Mardi Gras and things like that. And there was a lady in Houston, and we were just talking. And man, I guess you don't know what you must look like to somebody. But she almost left and went back to California, she said, because I was just locked in on this other lady just talking about stuff. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. To me, I was just being nice and, but oh, it was bad. I must have been
oh my God, no saying.
Yeah. And she was, and the thing was so it's kind of funny how ring the bell, how the race thing comes up and it comes up and how people play off of or people have this in their own mind, right? Because I had come out of a relationship with a black woman. That was my last serious relationship before I was with this girl from California. So this girl in Houston was black. And I was talking all into, oh yeah, we were talking, and I guess it must have flipped the switch for her because, maybe some insecurity with her because to me, I'm just having a conversation but that's how, I was really, sometimes I'm oblivious to how I come off when I'm talking to people.
Oh, let me tell you something. Oh, no saying. Men are like fucking clueless. Okay. I've been in situations that before. I've seen my girlfriends go through it where especially men who are friendly. Okay.
Yes.
Like, one of my exes was so kiki. Everybody was looking at his teeth. Everybody,
Right.
everywhere he went. I'm a people person. This is how I gotta be. And I think that was, I would say 50% reason why we're not together today. 50%, the other 50 was some other shit, but 50% was I could not deal with it. And I think he'd rather me not be around him because that is who he was, right? And then he would have to change too much of who he was. And I was like, okay, then we don't mesh because you're a little too friendly. And there's this whole world out there. And men do have an innocence to them, right? Not right. But men do have an innocence to them where it's like the same way you may be able to pick up on like another guy scheming, we can pick up on bitches being catty. And it's like, bitch, you know that's my man. Like, fall back a little bit, okay? Come on, right? Don't make me pull the wig off. I'm trying to be a lady tonight, right? So, you know,
Well, I
men.
tell you, it's funny you say that because I'm so, I was, and granted, this is many years ago, but
Mhm.
when she was explaining this to me, because I was like, no, I was just talking. I don't, she was so mad. She said, you didn't even see when she sat there and her eyes went to my eyes, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, are you okay with this? Because he's all up in,
Oh yeah. Oh, no saint, no saint.
Yeah.
Mark Randall says, Jen, you waiting on a robot. Come on, gotta allow for human nature within reason as long as it doesn't become unhealthy. Mark, and this is why, because I can't allow for human nature. This is why I'm alone. You see how that works? Right? So this is why, because I know I borderline unreasonable, right? And knowing is half the battle. I borderline unreasonable. I don't trust a bitch. I trust nobody. My background is such, that is what it is. I just don't, people are always scheming. And I've been in situations that when I'm with a guy, bitches get extra perky. They get extra perky because women are catty, they're competitive, and it's not like, I want a man like that. It's like, no, I want your man. So I'm like a mother hen, like in the group of my girls, I'll be the one that doesn't drink so I can watch everybody. Right. I'm constantly, when I did floor managing in nightclubs, I'm watching eyes and body language and hands, and I'm constantly looking at people and studying body language. So I see more than most. Where a man would just come in and be like, hey, what's up? I see you got some new titties. And I'm like, did you just fucking ask her about her titties? Like, and he'll innocently be asking, like, oh, yeah, I can see you got some new titties. Cool. And I'll be seething. Right? Like your chick in California. Like, did you not fucking know that was inappropriate? Right? So then I start doing it. I start reciprocating the energy. And then all of a sudden men notice.
Yes.
Men notice. I'm like, oh, you want to play with me? Okay. Wait till your friends come by. And then it's all about his shoes and his pants. And oh my God, where you got that sweater? Nice. All right, cool. So how long you been in Las Vegas? We can play that fucking game. And then you notice what it feels like, right? But I do believe that men do have this, they're just oblivious and they do have this innocence, especially when they're social butterflies. It's just that I don't mesh with those men. I need I need the strong, silent type. Don't talk to me if you don't have to. I'm taking care of my business. You know what I mean? I don't like women that are too friendly because I don't know where you're coming from. You know what I mean? And we've seen people do it. I've seen people do it. Like there was a time where I saw Jay-Z do it in a certain setting, and you could tell that the girl was all like, you know what I mean? But I'm like, Jay-Z had his hand in his pockets and he was kind of like, It was like they were like at a luncheon, like with all like the big wigs of the hip hop game and all of that. And you can see his body language, and she was all propped up, and the body language, like, yeah, and he was standing there straight with his hands in his pocket, like, you know what I mean, and looking around or whatever. There's just a way that you have to carry yourself if you want to date me. If you want to date me. Now, I will say I admire those women that anything goes with them. Like their man could say, man, I bet her pussy is good. And she'll be like, you're so silly, John. He's so crazy. I admire them. I am not built that way. I'm just not built that way. But I've seen women, I've had friends that are like that. And they're like, lighten up, Jen. I'm like, is that the guy that fucked your sister? I'm not lightening up. Okay. I will not lighten up. So I'm just like, so I got to the point where it's like, Jen, be single, be happy. There's so many people in the world that, what I mean, are fulfilling to know. You feel, someone told me recently, you want to care for something, get a puppy. Like, what I mean? It's like there are
Puppies are
children. Aren't puppies amazing? I want a puppy. So it's like, there are children in the world to love on. And there's so many other ways, right, to fulfill your life and fill that hole you were talking about earlier.
yeah.
There's good friendships and there's good relatives and there's, great work and their children and their animals. And there's so many things that you could do aside from what we're conditioned to do by tradition. Like, well, you're born and you're supposed to find somebody to die
Mm.
with. No,
Yeah. I think that
I will not.
and that's what the more, the longer you live, the more you realize how true the statement is that, and I may mess it up here, but basically that
Mhm.
the youth is wasted on the young, I think is
Mm.
what it's said. And it's so
Mhm.
true because,
Yep.
like, when you're young, you have this idea of what life's supposed to be about, and you want to find that forever person. And but you don't really know yourself, right? And
Mhm.
like what you're
Mhm.
in, I'm in that spot too, to where like I really know who I am. I can still
Mhm.
improve.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
still a lot of things to learn,
Mhm.
but there's something great about knowing, like you're saying, knowing that you're not built a certain way. So that's great to know, because that means you're not going to sit there and make those mistakes, because
Mhm.
you know yourself, right? It's
Mhm.
something that's really, and it's really good to, what I would say to people out there listening is, especially young people,
Mhm.
is if you're looking for somebody to make you happy, you're looking for the wrong thing, because people aren't here to make you happy. You really need to find out why you're not happy.
Mhm.
And not everybody's happy all of the time. I'm certainly not
Right.
happy all the time,
Mhm.
but I know there's no one person out there that is going to make me happy. I got to find out. And I got, and getting to know yourself is actually not, is part of the process, I think, of,
Yes.
you know, because knowing your shortcomings, at least if you know your shortcomings, you can try to work, or like you're saying, Jen, that's just the way you are. And you know that you're that way. It's good
I
to
mean,
know.
I
Yeah.
think there may be a man out there that gets it. That's the way I would need him to be. Maybe he's out there somewhere. Maybe I'll meet him before I die. Maybe I won't. But in the
Right.
meantime, between time, Jen is going to be plenty busy with other things that make Jen smile and make Jen feel good. And I think the difference between me and a lot of people, I'm not coming, it's just like religion with me. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't come from a place where I gave up or I was done wrong and that's why I'm here.
Right.
A lot
Right.
of people that are atheists are like, well, God forsook me, he forsaken me, and I needed him to be there for me, and now I'm an atheist. Or with relationships, people are like, well, I'm just getting a cat. I hate men and men. No, I love men. They're beautiful. It's wonderful energy. I love going to them. I love confiding in them. I love getting, consultations and from them. I love men, right? I hope I come back as a man next life, hopefully. But I'm not even there. I'm not coming from a place of that. And people are so indoctrinated that they can't even relate to my mindset. They think something must be wrong or I'm bitter or somebody hurt me. Yeah, motherfucker, some people have hurt me. I've
Mhm.
hurt people. People have hurt me in relationships. I've hurt people in relationships. It's a part of life, but it didn't render me like, oh, this is why I don't want to relate. No, it's because I know myself and I don't want to impose on someone else who's happy and social butterfly and blah blah. So I'm like, I tell them up front, this is who I am. I'm a novel idea. I look great on YouTube, but I don't know if you want this. I don't know if you want this. But then what do men do? They're like, challenge accepted. I'm like, okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Men will listen. Men get mesmerized by beauty, and it
They're
doesn't
like,
matter
I can
what.
do it. I can do it.
Even if they don't know if they can do it, they want it. They certainly are not going to give up
And
if
I
somebody
appreciate
gives
that. I
so much.
appreciate
Yeah.
that. And then we'll be at the restaurant and the fucking waitress will have a fat ass. And you'd be like, yo. And I'm like, that's it. We're done. I knew you couldn't do it. I knew
Right.
you couldn't do it, you asshole. You wasted 3 months of my life. So I know myself and I'm happy and I'm content. And that's probably the glow along with the fake bake, along with the tanning bed. That's probably the glow. Like when you get to a point where you're doing things because you want to, not because you have to, or you're bitter or you're hurt. It's like you can breathe. And like you said, no, so I'm not happy all the time. Shit happens where I'm like, what
Right.
the fuck?
Right.
Right? But to be here, like this is why I would advise people, like, find, and I know it's hard because we're conditioned to like, no, find that other person and die with them. But I would say, like, take your time, travel, learn, meet different people, meet people out of your country, read things, go to museums, like go live a whole life before you decide me and you forever. Like just
Yeah.
go live your life. You're not going to find your life in another individual or children. You're just not. You're not. That shouldn't be the end goal. The end goal should really be to find yourself and what makes you happy, and don't be in denial about things. Like, and I tried to fight the way I am. I'm like, I'm just gonna get with a guy, and if he acts a certain way, I'm just gonna accept it, and I'm just gonna lighten up, like Mark Randall said, just lighten up and let him be human. And I'm just gonna, and I fucking made myself miserable. I'm like, I can't fucking do it. Something is wrong when I'm unhappy. I don't like it. I'm not that girl. I admire those women. I'm not that girl, though. I just can't. Something in me is just like I don't like it. I want to be. I want to be the
Well,
leading lady.
and I think that a lot of problems in relationships is people have their expectations on how what they want and what they and so when you have, and especially if you have high expectations, you're going to get disappointed because
Yeah.
there's really it really is impossible for someone to be exactly what you want them to be all the time. It's just this, and men will try, like, and I've told you this before, and you know it, you've said it before, like, oh, I'm mad at you because of this and this, and or maybe if you're with a girl and she says, well, this needs to change, and a guy will try to change it, but
Yep.
eventually he's going to revert back to whatever, like you said, if he wants to watch football or if he wants to
Oh
be
my
that person that you can't stand, the person that's, if that's what he likes to do, he can try to please you, and he will because he likes you, and maybe he loves you, and he loves the way you look and all the things you may do.
I saw it. No
It's
saint.
impossible. It's
No
impossible.
saint. I am.
Yeah.
I am. I am. I am so much wiser today. I saw it happen in real fucking time. Like I was with someone and I have my ways and I have my convictions and I'm like sports, blah blah blah, and and religion, blah blah, and that friendly shit. That shit's dangerous to relationships. That kiki with other women. And I'm talking about, he was soldier for me. I didn't see sports in the house. He wasn't the key. I'm talking about soldier for me. I was like, ooh, I like him. Then we broke up. And I literally saw him morph back into everything I didn't like. Everything. I'm talking about, he's all about his sports. He's all about kiki. I call him the mayor now. I'm like, you're always fucking running for mayor. You're always trying to get votes everywhere you fucking go. Now he's back on that. Like so it taught me something. I'm like, people will run that race with you, but if they're not meant to run that race, they're gonna tire out, and you're gonna
Yes.
keep running. You're gonna keep running because that's your race. That's not his race. It's your race. So you're like, yeah, come on, and they're like, oh, I like that race, and then they're like, hold up, this shit's work, and I'm like, you don't want to keep running with me. So I saw it happen, and it made me wiser, and that's why now, moving forward, if I were to start dating again, I'm like, look, this is how it is. I'm not gonna compromise. I'm not gonna change it. I know you're gonna feel challenged, like you could feel it, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna observe people now for who they are. Are you the
Yeah.
type that flirts a lot already? You can pick that up in a couple months when you hang out with somebody. And
Yeah.
without telling them what it is you like, it's like, okay, you flirt a lot, or oh, you watch a lot of sports. Like you literally have jerseys. You're a sports guy,
Yeah.
right? Or you travel a lot, or you curse a lot, or you treat people. Now I sit in the cut,
Or
and
drink.
or you drink a lot,
Yeah.
whatever it is, or or your family is your priority. Like my in-laws would come before me. Like I watch now and I'm like, yeah, okay, now. Yeah. So now I just watch now. Before I was young and dumb and I was like, I'm gonna get a man and it's gonna be like Gen boot camp and then he's gonna be my soldier and that, and it's like you grow up and it's like, oh damn, like you didn't even want to be the way I wanted you to be. That's sad. I was
No,
like,
I know what you're
that's
saying. Like,
sad.
yeah, I mean, one of my first relationships, and I was trying to do like she wanted a certain kind of man, and she told me what you need to do this and you need to do that. I'm just not, and so of course I was going to try to do it, and I did try to do it, but you can't. It's like you said, if it's not the way you are, you're going to slide. You're going to slip back into your old habits. You're so right, though. You're so right. It's much better to know what you want and know that you're not going to, like, sometimes women, well, when I get married, I'll change him.
Yeah, I mean, women, we love a project. We're like, yay, it's like my Ken doll. We're gonna change this, and we're gonna change that. We're gonna change your haircut, and I'm gonna put you in these clothes, and this is what you're gonna do. And it's but it comes with wisdom. Like I would have never been talking like this even 10 years ago. I was like, no, I'm gonna change to my want. But it's a miserable time, and I hate being somebody that I wasn't either. Because in a relationship, I have to be somebody else as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to watch like, oh, now I can't flirt on YouTube, right? And be funny with my guys. Like I can't wear this on YouTube. I can't, I mean? I'm a flirt. I'm this. So I'm like, I don't even want that. But excuse me, I saw it happen in real time. I was like, since when are you into sports? Really? Now you're into sports? But I'm like, no, motherfucker was always into sports. He was just changing it because of me. He was always into sports. Yeah. So it's interesting.
And I think you don't like, I think, because we talked about this before too, where you really like a guy who's, you can see the passion for things except for sports. And I think when it comes to sports with you, this is just I'm gonna throw it out there. It's wrapped up in the same reason that you don't like a guy who's talking about another girl. They're so into it. And sports is one thing where, now you can stop the DVR and pause it, but it's live, right? So you want to talk, and the guy, okay, can you wait for the commercial break? This is a big. So it takes it's not more important than the person, like the relationship you're in, but at that moment, it's kind of like you're in it. You're like, I can't.
Yeah, and I can't
because and for you, that is the same thing as him not paying attention to you and looking at some girl's fat butt. Fat ass.
Yeah, it's like, and then when you went and the way you guys watch sports, it's like, well, fuck. Like a woman will never see that type of passion,
right?
For anything she does. I don't care if she got a promotion. Right? I can't come home and tell my man I got a promotion. He's gonna be like, fuck yeah! Good, get in there! Fuck, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? Like, you're never gonna get that level of passion from a man. And I find that disturbing. So I don't want to see it. I don't want to see you passionate for some guys running around in fucking shorts throwing a ball. I know it means the world to you. I understand. I don't want to see it. I don't want to be a witness to it. When I can fucking tell you, I just, achieve something. You're like, that's good, babe. You want to go to dinner? Like, no, I need you to throw something across the room. I need you to jump up and down. Okay, I need you to grab me and pick me up and slap me on the ass. That's what I need.
That's interesting.
So if you can,
yeah, it's interesting.
That's what I fucking need.
There is, I'm really interested in why that those things do get those high intense reactions, like you win the lottery. I can imagine getting that excited if you win the lottery. You know what I mean?
Yes. So I'm just like, and then like the attitudes and everything. If you try to interrupt, like, so do you want steak or the
Yes.
Excuse me, motherfucker. Do you want steak or chicken? Don't put, so it's like you just don't, and it kills you. I don't want to, I'm selfish. I do not want to see my man more passionate about something else other than me or his mama or his children. Like, I don't want to see, you don't know those motherfuckers. You don't know those men running around on a court.
Kind of funny that Michelle, the California girl, had a similar type of thing about.
See?
She even mentioned a friend of mine, and she might even said something similar to what you said about, about the excitement that I show, that I would show in sports and the attention. It's kind of funny you say that because I do remember like a similar type of thing.
We just won't, but that is a man's. I'm telling you, I'm gonna fucking do some stand up. That's gonna be my that's it right there.
That's funny.
Shit. Mark Randall says, here we go. I just, the word charmer jumped out at me. Okay. The word charmer jumped out at me. He says, I'm a Southern charmer, the type that makes best friends with the toothless fat girl working at the Circle K in 30 seconds or the baddest chick in the club. It's just my nature. I'm friendly and a fun joker. Yeah, a lot of you guys are comedians on the fly, aren't you? Aren't you? Like comedian, kiki, everywhere you go. Mark Randall says, my partner just has to know, oh, that's just Mark being Mark, old-fashioned Southern charmer, love to talk, hence why I love this platform. Yeah, see. Yeah, y'all always itching to get cut. You beg for it. You're like, cut me, please. Haran says, solitude for me is crucial. A lot of women are iffy about such. Mark says, I think there's guys out there for sure. I know some, but problem is you would not be attracted because they on the spectrum or trolls. But listen, right now I'm to the point where I'll take a guy on the spectrum. If he's not going to, I'll take a guy on the spectrum. If he's not going to say she bad when a woman walks by and he's not going to be yelling at the TV over the Raiders, I'll take a guy on the spectrum. What's wrong with that? I just have to wipe up his drool every now and then. Who cares, man? At this point. Haran DeMarco says, yeah, I think I'll be a bachelor for most of my life due to the fact I'm non-monogamous and I need my space.
Is he home yet?
Says, yeah, are you home, Haran? That camera was dope. You need to cam up again for a few minutes. Come on up for a few minutes. Virgo said, Jen, don't grow old alone, stroking your cat sitting by the window, watching lovers stroll by. What's wrong with that?
And I think you're a dog person.
I am a dog person. I'll be stroking my Yorkie.
There's dogs. Oh my God. I love dogs. I do. I have 2 dogs at home, but.
Scrapple says, okay, Jen, I'll have them write your name on the Goodyear blimp. That's a good start. If you're going to be yelling at the TV over your favorite team, yes, I'd love to see my name on a blimp. Oh, wait, Mark, this is interesting. Mark Randall says it's our replacement for war. We are warriors by nature. Unless we can go conquer new lands, we got to feed that drive through sport.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard that before.
Is that
what's really interesting though is men's testosterone when watching sports goes up. They live vicariously through these athletes. They've talked about that. Like men will have higher testosterone and everything. It's fascinating because when you ask me, like, I watched basketball tonight. I watched and it's not like I don't react like when I was younger. Like when I was younger, I died for it. But it does still give that excitement when you see those big plays but it really doesn't. If you talk about it like you're talking about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it just is. I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean? Because you know about it. You have a fake stake in it because that's the team you root for unless you're betting on it. And when you're betting on it, it's even more, but in the
I even understand. I even understand that. I understand if you're part of a betting business then that is your business. That's like money, do or die. I completely understand you yelling at the TV like, I just lost $5,000. But when there's no bet and you're reacting the same way, like I hate to see it. I
I don't
just
know.
hate to see it.
Well, just think about it too. People, people put themselves in the middle of things that really they don't have any say. Like you'll hear people angry or, well, this person, why are we paying this? You're not paying them any. Why is he making $20 million? That guy's a bum. Or why didn't we keep this guy? And you're spending somebody else's money, but because you feel like I guess you just, all I can say is you feel like you're part. Like when you hear people say, oh man, we lost today. Well, no, the team lost. You didn't lose. You didn't lose a thing unless you bet.
So fucking true.
Or we wear the jerseys,
Yes. Thank you for the super chat, Don Levon. Late, but nice to see you and your tongue, sir. See, me and Don be together, not just he'd be walking around like Swiss cheese. He got that Southern charm as well. He's like, hey, I ain't like that. Yeah. Yeah, but it's see, I love this. I love this show because you just learn. You learn. And I just realized, like I learned a lot about myself. I matured a lot. I learned a lot, and you realize when you have these conversations, I'm like, damn, I was like crazy 10, 15, 20 years ago. Now I'm just like, I know what it is. I'm not, I don't have a bitter bone in my body. Men are amazing, but I don't want to do it to y'all. I don't want to do it to y'all. Like, go ahead and yell at the TV. Things like that. So here, hookup culture, here. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I don't know. Who's your favorite team, No Saint?
Oh, well.
Since we're here.
Yeah, it's going to be obvious after I tell you, but the Saints are my favorite team.
Okay.
And they're from New Orleans.
Of
so
course.
That was the name was No Saint, as I'm not a saint because I don't believe in God. And it's my team. And then the Pelicans are the NBA team here, so that's how I've been watching.
So you're just loyal to your state.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
Yeah. I grew up watching we've had a basketball team here since like 2000, but I grew up watching the Saints, and I went to a ton of games even young when I was young. So I was, but it's for sure loyal to the local teams.
All right, that's interesting because some people be like, "Yankees suck, they suck," and then they'll pick another team.
What's crazy is that's what's full. This is, and different people are different. But when I was growing up, I'm talking about like 7, 8 years old, and I was playing little league football, and in the this is late 70s, but in the 70s all the way up until the Saints didn't have a winning season until like 1987. They were 20 years old before they even won more games than they lost in a season, right? So they were always viewed. People called them the Aints, and somebody talked about the bags on the head at one point. People putting bags on their head and stuff like that. But listen, this is maybe just part of my personality. I remember we're playing little league football, and we're first practice, and the coach is out there, and he's like, okay, who do we want to be? Well, when you're little league, you pick a team, and you paint the helmets like for the Raiders. And as a matter of fact, we were the Raiders one time, and we were the Vikings. But I remember someone might have said the Vikings, and I was like, well, what about the Saints? One kid looked at me, they suck. But I was so loyal. I didn't understand.
Oh my God.
I never understood how someone who had a team in their area would root for like the Cowboys. To me, it just didn't make sense. But that's how loyal I've been to that team.
But the funny thing is, I'm not into sports, but I'm always like, I'm the Yankees, man. Fuck that, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Yankees lost, and I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm from New York.
Yeah.
I don't care if they lost. Like, what's wrong with you? But some people, they'll just, people like the winners, so they go with the winners. Mark Randall says, sport has always been a cultural substitute for war and a release valve for male aggression and fight drive. Really? That's interesting. I mean, I can see it because most sports are pretty brutal. Aside from like basketball today, basketball back in the day was brutal,
Yeah.
but not as much today. But I can see that with football. Football is brutal. I mean, these guys die on the field. It's pretty, it's brutal, right? The
Yeah,
concussions and the, it's really
it's
so.
violent. But there are a lot of sports out there that aren't brutal. Tennis, you know what I mean?
But
Chess.
John McEnroe made it more exciting, didn't he?
Yeah, bowling, if you want to call bowling a sport. I mean, that's kind of, there's a lot of sports, but the most popular ones that he's talking about have that element of strategy and like he's saying, some people attribute it to like battle.
Right. I get. Oh, you see now you back with the other camera.
I mean, it works better with my earbuds. I don't think
With the
that phone.
sound.
Yeah, I don't think that those phones work great with my earbuds.
Okay. I mean, the freaking visual was amazing. I was like, damn, Blu-ray make my shit look like trash. Made mine look like Metro PCS in this bitch.
That's that iPhone 14, baby.
I got the Samsung S22, which is
my
pretty.
Condolences.
The camera on my phone is way better than the camera on this Mac.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Mac laptops, they're notoriously known for having bad cameras.
And that's disgusting because the price.
I paid like $3,000 fucking dollars for my fucking Mac.
Yes, it should have a telescope on this bitch. You should be able to see you should be able to see inside my iris, into my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you heard, Haran, but I was up here explaining how crazy I was.
I heard most of it. I mean, none of it was that shocking, but I mean,
listen.
I mean, come on. I mean, like a crazy Puerto Rican chick from the Bronx, like
whatever. Whatever. At least listen, I know myself. You know how many motherfuckers running around here putting rings on people and they don't know themselves. Okay. I know myself.
It's true.
I know myself. And
I mean, I'm very much into my solitude. I'm not really like, I need my space. I'm not the guy that's up under a chick every 5 minutes. Like, I need my space, man. Like, and some women they get clingy and they want you to be clingy. You know what I mean? And it's just like I had a lot of women like back in the days, especially when I was really heavy, like practicing like my instruments and stuff like that. I used to get into arguments with a lot of my girlfriends because I'd be sitting there for hours practicing my like guitar, my piano, and they'll be like, "What about me?" And I'm like, "What about you?" Like, I'll be with you after I'm done mastering this piece or whatever. And that caused a lot of arguments, man. That caused a lot of arguments, and it was like, oh, you like that better than me, and you were passionate about that than me, and then I'll be like, yeah, you're right, I am,
I mean, aside from me, like I know I'm extra, but women in general like a lot of attention. We are reared and raised to be little princesses. And it's like, why aren't you paying attention to me? And I'm the baby of 4. So I grew up saying, look at me, look what I can do. Over here. And, the whole family, like.
Oh, you're the youngest?
I'm the youngest. I'm the baby of 4.
This makes so much fucking sense now.
And I'm the baby. Like, my closest sibling is 8, 9 years older than me. So
that's like a whole nother generation.
Yes, it is. Like I had to play with
you're kind of the only kid in a way.
Yep.
Because you're very much removed from so many of your siblings. So that means the oldest one is like 15 years older than you. And Jesus Christ.
Yes, so it's like you're absolutely right. You do become the only child because it's like they already moved on to other games and other friends. Yeah, so it's like no one's playing toys with me.
Yeah, no, you're a fucking nuisance by that time. Like,
I'm like, get out the room, get out of my stuff, get out. I'm that kid. So I was like, I'll show them. and I started inventing shit with my own toys and listening to my mom's
That makes
records.
sense now. You becoming an actress and an entertainer.
Hmm.
That makes sense. You know what I mean? Because I'm an
Because
only kid.
when you're the baby, like you're the entertainer of people
Mhm.
that are older than you. And it's like, do that thing, do that thing. Look what I can do. You know what I mean? And you become like the little entertainment, and it sticks with you. So I'm like, I'm still that brat.
I tell people a lot of times. I tell people a lot of times, you are your birth order. A lot of times, you are your birth order. Seriously, like when people who are older, the oldest
Hmm.
usually is the unofficial co-parent.
Yeah.
Is usually the unofficial co-parent. The
Yep.
oldest is always the closest to the parents because sometimes they have to take care of the kids. You know what I mean? They have to sacrifice their own
That
probably
shit is
childhood
that
and,
shit
and
is
shit
sad as
like
fuck.
that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They're more responsible. You know what I mean? When you're an only kid, it's kind of like you're kind of like in this world where it's just like, holy shit! Like it took me a while to learn how to share
Hmm.
because it was a very foreign concept to me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it was like share. What do you mean? Like I don't do that. It's for other
Hmm.
people. It's mine.
That's
Go get your
mine.
own. You know what I mean? Go get your fucking own. But I had to learn to share.
Hmm.
I had to learn teamwork. I had to learn, what I mean, how to, what I mean, even exist in like a relationship. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? I had to learn to think outside of myself. Still learning that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I had to learn these things, because when you're by yourself, you're just kind of like,
Oh, so
you're
you were an
just,
only?
yeah, I'm an only kid.
Okay. I was gonna ask just on your opinion, like, so what is a middle kid's trait? Do you think? Like you have the
I used to
Never
know. I
feeling
used
enough.
to.
Never
I used to
feeling
know.
like enough.
what's
Yeah, I
that?
used to. I used to know this. Yep.
Never feeling like enough. Because here's the thing, what I mean, when you're stuck in the middle, it's kind of like, okay, you're not you're not the first one here, so you don't necessarily
Right.
have seniority, and you're
Hmm.
not the youngest, so it's not like you don't have the cute factor wrapped around
Hmm.
you. You know what I mean? So you're in the fucking middle, where it's just like, hey, it's Mike.
Yeah.
There's no opinion about me.
Yeah.
You know what I
I,
mean?
I guess. Well, okay. I'm just gonna give up what I was, and I understand what you're saying, but I'm gonna give up what I've observed just in my
Hmm.
anecdotal. So I was a
Hmm.
middle, right?
Oh, you're a middle? Okay,
I'm a middle.
that
But my
makes sense.
sister, but my
No
That
sister
makes
was,
sense.
paint.
but my younger sister was 8.5 years younger. So I was an only
Right.
for. I mean, I was a youngest baby for 8.5 years, and
Okay.
my oldest sister is like a couple of years older than me, and I have
Hmm.
three. I had my oldest is a couple 2.5 years, just like my sister is 2.5 years. He's 2.5 years older than my middle son, who's exactly 2 years older than the baby. So what I've observed, because I remember as a kid, my sister, well, first of all, I don't think this has to do, but my sister was brilliant. My first son is brilliant. I mean, I wasn't a good student. My second son's really not. He's smart, but he's just not, he doesn't want to do it, right?
Hmm.
But what I noticed is just my sister was generous as could be, would always share with me, and I was stingy. And my oldest son is so generous with his brothers. In the middle, he is so not generous. He is like it's mine. you And I was just saying, is that a trait of a middle child? Like
No, they just be in. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's I used to know a lot about that. The middle child is hard because it's like, again, the baby gets the attention because it's the baby, and then the eldest, you don't get that attention either because this is the first baby. So it's
No.
like they're both so special, the first baby, and then there's you in the middle. Go get me a glass of water, you. You.
And you find yourself
and,
overcompensating. You're like, I'm
and then
gonna get them the best glass of water they've ever had in their fucking life.
and then the baby, especially in a trio like that, like the oldest gets a lot of attention, especially when he's by himself, right? The first couple of years, they
Yep.
get a lot of attention. And then I tried to overcompensate with the middle because I knew that we had an oldest. I didn't want the middle to get left out. But by the time you have the third one, you're kind of like on autopilot.
Yeah.
But also like the middle one, the baby gets tough as far as like, because his older brothers are calling him names, and so I'm saying, oh, don't call, but he gives it right back. I remember like eventually you'll build that armor.
How old is he? How old is the baby?
And now he's going to be 13, but
okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I remember like when he was like 9 or 10, and they were calling him stupid or fat, or something like that. And he would fire right back at him. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess.
Well, another thing too, though, with an only though, you gotta understand, man. I mean, like there's pressure to produce, because like you gotta be brilliant. You gotta be kind of, you not even kind of, you gotta be special. You gotta be everything. You know what I mean? Because it's like the whole family name is kind of riding on you. And if you're a bust, it's like, well, we tried that kid thing and look what happened. You know what I mean? And there's other thing too. Like growing up in the hood, there wasn't no big brothers or cousins to go look for, so I had to fight. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's so many things where you learn. I think that's why I'm so independent with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because you become conditioned to do for your fucking self and go get the shit yourself and do whatever you need for yourself, because you're in this world where, if you don't get up, you ain't gonna eat. You know what I mean? So you learn all those things. So there's pros and cons to all that shit. You know what I mean? But there's sometimes when I do like wish, like, damn, I wish I had like a sibling to bounce off of, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And then I hear the stories that you guys go through, and then I'm like, yeah, this only kid shit is pretty fun. I'm
my daughter is the only child as well.
How is she?
She's very laid back. She's like her dad. But she had problems sharing like with other kids when she was little. Right, unless they were crying. But yeah, it's all about her. And when like her friends used to come over, and I was like, oh, if I buy my daughter something, I would have to buy her friends too, because I'm the mama, right? So her little friends would come over and be like, oh, I got you one too. Like little friends that used to come over all the time to my house. And she wouldn't like it. She would not let, she brings it up to this day. She was like, you bought her the sandals and you bought me the sandals. I was like, you guys were 7 years old. What are you talking about?
I hear what she said. She ain't want to share her mom.
No.
She want to share her mom.
She was like, she was like, if your mother sucks, that's your problem. But I like to
my daughter was like that with me. My daughter was like that with me for a minute. Like even when her mom used to come around me, like I remember one time before my daughter be like, Mommy, that's my daddy. Like she would like get a little like, don't nobody come around my father kind of.
I can't even imagine being the only child. I'm the baby of 4. So
right.
Well, I was another thing I didn't mention was that I was the only boy in I had an older sister and a younger sister.
Oh shit.
So that also my mom used to always say, but you're the only boy. I was the middle child. She said, but you're the only boy.
You know what? This makes a lot of sense, man, because I would say this about you, Shane. You're a very empathetic guy.
Very.
You know what I mean? You're a very empathetic guy. I said
no saint is the saint.
You're a very empathetic guy. I had to work on being empathetic in my life. I'm still kind of working on it.
He must be a great dad.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I had to work on that. I had to, you know what I mean? Because in my mind, I'm like, everybody will be all right. It's okay. And I'm kind of making decisions for how people feel or should feel.
Yeah,
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be all right. You know what I mean? And I had to learn, like, no, sometimes it's not. You know what I mean? And you have to acknowledge these things. You know what I mean? It comes with growth.
Yeah.
It's kind of some of the things that I learned about being on this show. Though. I'm not gonna lie. I learned certain things about, you know what I mean, empathy and seeing things a certain way, you know what I mean, by being on this show enough, So
I sure did. Especially with Lily, like you really get to know people behind the scenes that you would just normally walk past the street
Of
and
course, of course.
have these preconceived notions. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, whatever. But the way we, opened up here, because do we spill beans on this bitch? I'm like,
We lost a few people.
yeah, we lost some people too. Let's pour a little bit out for the people that ain't here no more. We lost some people, but I'm like, when we lose people, I go through two things. I'm like, fuck you, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck you, But then I have to remember everybody's not built the same, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But the reason why I get cynical is because I'm like, collectively, like, we're a really good bunch of people. Like, we have our quirks and our ways and our attitudes and our beliefs and our convictions, but just in general, we are really good stock of people. We are good, genuine souls and people. So when someone like turns their back, or it's like, oh, I ain't going over there, no, I'm like, fuck you. Because where are you going to find a collection of people like this from different walks of life, races and genders, and be treated, you know what I mean, with respect and care? Where? On YouTube? Is that where you're going to wear?
I mean,
Good luck.
find that. Yeah, you better
Right.
find that in real life.
Right. That's why I'm like, good luck, buddy. And then what I notice, which is crazy, or maybe not, I notice the people that leave are always hanging around. And you see them hanging around. Like, people don't leave, no, Saint.
Yeah, I know they're checking.
They're definitely checking. I have proof.
Like, even people that haven't left the show on bad terms, like, you don't hear from Joanna anymore. Joanna Washington.
Joanna pops up every now and then.
When her name's mentioned, she'll get in there.
Oh, we gotta say it 3 times. Joanna. Joanna's probably watching right now. Hey, Joanna. Hey, girl.
Yeah.
Joanna's probably watching. I think sometimes people watch too, and they don't speak, which is.
But
fine.
I mean, I like getting. I mean, George gets up on here sometimes, and there was I can't remember the guy's name the other night that came up. Was really interesting.
Oh, he was so good, Damien something. I forgot his last name. Damien. Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, I mean, cool. But no, I mean, this is this show is, I look forward to it growing even more. Wait, hang around, but wait.
It was cathartic, I would say.
Yeah.
It was cathartic.
I always look forward to it. I do. I always look forward because it's always a good subject, and even when it's a subject that I may not really have a lot of insight to, there's always a turn in there. There's always, like, sometimes I'm like, I'm not going to really have a lot to say, and then something will happen. Yeah, it kicks right up.
Randy Ammon says, "Where the Wild Ones Are." That's what this channel reminds me of. What is that? Where the Wild Ones Are? Is that the book I just bought?
Is that a movie or a book or something?
Where the Wild Ones Are. That sounds familiar. I just can't remember if it's the book or.
Oh, I remember that. I think it was. Remember that kid's book? Remember that kid's book? You remember that shit? You gonna remember when you see the cover.
Oh, I just bought this for my grandbaby. I sent it to him. Yeah. Okay, I didn't see the movie though. I gotta see the movie because now I want to see what we're like.
I think he meant Where the Wild Things Are. I mean, that's what I think he meant.
Okay, he said book to movie. I heard it was a movie, and then when I went looking for it, I don't have the network that it's on, so I was like, wah wah wah. I forgot what it's on. I don't know if it's on Disney or it's on one of the ones I don't have. Mark Randall says, I feel like Jen was that kid the teacher had to tell the parents she bit a kid because she didn't want to share more than once.
Right.
I didn't bite the children, but I did get in trouble. This kid told me that he loved me and I slapped him in the face. And I thought I was very little and I thought that he was being fresh with me. That's how I interpreted that. And then, my mom was like, that's not a bad thing. And I'm like, and here I am now, right? And I never, and it's an incident that I never forgot. I never forgot. I slapped this little boy.
Let me tell you that I'm gonna share something. I'm gonna share something. Because you reminded me of this. So when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade,
it wasn't you I slapped, was it? No,
no.
Okay.
No. You wouldn't. You weren't this. You weren't this evil. You weren't this evil.
So I was young Spanish girls.
when I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, maybe it was 3rd grade. There was a girl that was known, and I don't know if her brother or her older brother said, yeah, someone's, if everybody does this, you just kick the guy in the nuts or whatever, right? And she caught me one, and she was known for kicking guys in the nut, and she
was the nut kicker. What the fuck?
Oh my god, it hurt so bad. But let me tell you something. So when I was once I had my 3rd child, I went to get a vasectomy. And do you know that doctor told me what happened to he said the tube was completely crushed. You've been working on one nut the whole time. And all I could think of, I'm like, really? And then I had to think about it. I'm like, I bet you that's when that happened. I bet you that, because it hurts so bad.
Wait, how old? Balls, man. How old were you?
Well, 3rd grade, so I don't know. I was.
Oh man, like so before your balls dropped officially, your shit was crushed. Man, but you had like 3 kids, right? So hey, man,
it all worked out.
It worked out.
But the tube, the thing that they tie or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that was. He said you had trauma on one side. It was completely.
Christ.
Watch your babies. Watch your babies in school, please. Jesus oh my Christ. God! If I hear something like that, my grandbaby.
Yeah, she almost ended your whole fucking career before it started, man. God damn it.
Yeah.
God damn it. Some vicious kids out here, man. Nutcracker.
Yeah, no, I just slapped a little boy because I was like, oh my God, you're being fresh. But we were little. We were like, he was like, I love you, Janice. And I was like, and I got in trouble over it. I was like, wasn't that? I went home like, wasn't that what I was supposed to do? And my mom was like, no.
I dropped a hockey stick in the kid's eye from a balcony.
Ooh.
He dared me.
Just vicious.
He said, you wouldn't dare do that shit to me, blah, blah, blah. I said, what? He's like, you wouldn't dare. You ain't got the balls. I said, balls away. And it just right in the fucking pupil. He had to get glasses after that. But it inspired him to become a doctor. So, listen, I helped a guy become...
What a freak kind of accident, though. I mean,
it would get in his eye, man. It would get in his eye. My mother went down there. She just, I guess she pleaded with him not to press charges. Oh, I did some shit when I was a kid. I like damn near burned the house down a few times. I did some things, you know what I mean?
But at the time, I know it's not funny, but when I think of something like that, that's something that you would laugh at in the movie theater if you saw that happen. Like,
come on, we were young kids. It was New York. Come on, Jen. Back in them days, we all did some hellish fucking shit.
Don't throw me into blinding a person. Don't you dare.
I didn't blind anyone. It just went in his eye.
He can see.
He can see ish. He can see ish.
He can see ish.
Yeah, right, man. It's okay, man. It happens. It's kids.
He said it happens.
My God.
Hit that like button for me, you guys. If you're here, hit the like button for me. Gracias. I love how sensitive YouTube has become. Like it shows me like what comments are held, right? That don't pop up in the chat. It's like, I'll give you an example. The ones that are held, that second child is with the shits. They don't give a fuck. The most dangerous sibling. And then Mark Randall wrote, that's some Japanese thing. That one was held.
I wonder what he's talking about. Japanese thing.
Kevin Samuels Gold says, too many people walking around with scars and trauma from their past. You got to deal with the shit before you start a new relationship. That one was held. Like, YouTube is on one. They don't want nobody talking about nothing.
Fucking corny, man. So you need a podcast, man, on Spotify. You
Yeah,
need to
for
move
real.
this shit
I
to
keep
Spotify or
hearing that,
something
but I'm
like that.
like, ugh.
You need to move that shit to Spotify or a bigger platform, man. Because after a while, you know what I mean, it's diminishing returns after a while.
Yeah,
That's
but
down the
we'll see.
road.
We'll see what this we'll see what this talent show does. I'm very, very excited
Me too.
for this new adventure
You
of
got a
ours.
gong? You got a gong over there? Some shit.
I don't have a gong,
I
but
think it
That's a good. They,
April,
they got they got to be an app where you can get a
right.
gong and you can just like press that
Yes,
motherfucker.
yes,
listen,
yes.
it's going to be very interesting. April 15th, 8 p.m. sharp. We are going to book 10 people, no more than that, because we can't be here all night. 10 people will be booked to
Ahead
perform
of
for the
time.
cat
Ahead of
ahead of
time.
time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they have to email me a picture and what they're going to do. So that's really all you got to do. If you want to April 15th perform for us, no matter what your talent is, no matter what it is, if it's a talent, we'd like to see it. April 15th, 8 p.m. sharp. There is a cash prize. We will talk about it. It'll be just like America's Got Talent or American Idol. We're going to dissect your performance. It doesn't matter what we say. People will vote, and the person with the most votes wins the cash prize. So it's going to be very interesting. Now, we're only going to get 10 people, but people can wait backstage in case someone flakes or something. And then we have a spot, then we'll pull them up if they're just waiting
Well, like
backstage.
everybody will
Like,
have like a minute or two, like something like that.
yeah, 2 minutes.
Mm.
2 minutes, but we'll get that. We'll get them up. It'll be just like American Idol. We'll get them up. We'll ask them why they do what they do, what they're about to do, and then we let them go off for 2 minutes, and then we'll dissect it a little bit, and then it's up to the voting who gets the cash prize. But I think it's going to be very, very
Fun.
interesting and entertaining.
They, they
April
they they
15th.
can they can come up there with like a real like gut wrenching story because you know like on American Idol it's all about the
Yeah.
story now like hey my mom has like cancer and AIDS or some shit
But
like
oh
that you know.
God, Jesus.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always the story. Like,
Right. So, I'll have some sort of timer to make sure they don't go over 2 minutes, but it should be interesting because I'm like, we're taking everybody. If you want to do an actor's monologue, if you want to sing, if you want to act, if you want to dance, whatever it is, whatever your talent is, you want to play the banjo, you want to play the jug, you want to blow in the jug, whatever it is that you do, you want to play the
I mean,
flute.
hey man, you can blow the fuck out of a jug, man.
Yeah,
Shit.
I mean, if it's good and you're the best thing on that night, then so be it. If you get voted for you and your story and your talent, so we have no say. The only thing we can do is, tell them what we thought about the performance, ask them some questions, but we don't have a say. I have a say in my mind, but it's not up to me. It's up to the votes.
That'll be fun.
April 15th, 8 p.m. Eastern. So should be interesting. So you guys
Should
are
have
gonna
like the
see.
womp womp horn. I know they got an app. I know they got an app on there, the womp womp horn. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think
like,
that's that's the next thing. I mean, I don't know if you want to do this or not, but there's those. Some people have those little sound effect machines.
right.
Oh
Right.
no, there's an actual program that you put, like I have it on the Mac, I just don't know how to use it. But there's like little things that you just like I'm all thumbs when it comes to
Yeah.
technology. So I'm like,
Or you can
you know.
assign it to a particular. I'm sure you could probably assign it to a particular key where you just, you know what I
Yeah,
mean. You
that's
just
how they
press
do
it.
it.
And,
Right.
That's exactly how they do it. They put it on different
Mhm.
keys, but I'm like, but
Mhm.
we're not gonna be gonging them. We don't vote.
Huh.
Gotta
Meanies.
make it interesting. Like shit, man.
Well, what our feedback will be interesting
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
Our feedback will be because
Just
and
look at Lily face. Just look at Lily face.
listen,
She
there's
got no
gonna
poker
be
face when a motherfucker's full of shit. She has none.
listen. There's gonna be a disclaimer. It's the show's not gonna be for the faint of heart. Like I will be asking, are you serious about what you're doing right now? Like it's not gonna be for the faint of heart. It's gonna be Simon, Simon, Simon. Okay, because but we're not doing it. It'll be, you know what I mean, for the better of the performer. Right, we're not just gonna bash people to bash them. I'm just gonna add. Some people maybe ask, like, "Are you serious about this as a career? Really?" I just want to know. It's not going to be it's the block, man. It is the block. It's not, you're
I
not
mean,
performing for your grandma.
you gotta have Tristan up there doing with the memes for at least to just bounce off. Come on, man. It has to be interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be quite interesting because people, they just think they're talented, you know, and we may get some gems up here. Who knows?
I remember I was hosting a talent show like years ago. That was a very, very interesting experience.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting experience. And
Yeah,
some
and
people
we've all have some hand in it. Like I've you know, I did casting for a script readings. I've done
I can't even imagine
pageant
how casting is. Like that has to be a
pageant
terrible,
judging.
that has to be a tedious and terrible fucking procedure. Casting, because
Yes.
oh God.
Yes.
God.
And that's what makes you like, it made my acting better because I know what people are thinking when you walk in there looking crazy and acting crazy. But it's interesting. Even when I was judging the pageants, and that wasn't that long ago out here in Nevada, I was judging pageants like little toddler, teeny girls, all the way up to 21 years old. And you have to ask them certain questions, right? So I'm asking them questions and I'm seeing how poised they are. And the pageant world, I don't think people realize. Like, I felt
Oh,
sorry
it's
for some of them
vicious.
girls. Yeah, I
It's
felt sorry for
vicious.
some of them girls. Like, some of them are completely like little robots. Like, they would come in with their little pretty dresses and they would sit down and fix their little, put their hands down.
Show business
Hi.
is brutal, period, man. Show business is
Yeah.
just fucking brutal, period. They'll flat out tell you like, yo, yeah, you don't
Yeah.
got it. You don't got
Yeah.
it, man. Yo, look, listen, man. I remember when I first it didn't happen to me, but like at one of my
Mhm.
first auditions, man, I just I saw the guitarist who went before me. He was auditioning, and
Mhm.
they stopped him before he could get to the second bar, man.
Mm.
Mhm.
They like he plugged in, he started playing like next. Like
Mhm.
his timing was a bit off, but I was like, man, maybe he was trying to warm up a little bit, but they just got him out of here.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
I let
brutal, man.
people like when I was doing the casting, the acting casting, I let people go do their thing. Like, but I know right away I'm like this motherfucker. But I'm just like I let them go through with it, and I'm just like, and I'll every actor has a different method, and so some actors are really intense, some of them are ridiculous, you know what I mean? But everybody has a process and you have to
You,
respect the process. But I had one guy come in, he was super intense. Like, he walked in and he was like, he sat in his chair and then he moved in front of me. He was like, "Can you do me a favor?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what do you need?" He was like, I need you to be like right in front of me. So can you move your chair so like we're right, like, and I was like, "Sure. Okay." Right? Whatever it is you need to perform. I don't care what it is. Right? But he sucked. He didn't get the job. But some of the actors are like super, super intense. I had this lady who sometimes they'll send in a headshot from like 10 years ago, and then the person that walks in, I'm like, okay, where's the lady in the picture? That's who I need to, and then her paper was all like crumpled up and she was ruffled and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And there was traffic. I was like, "Breathe, relax. You're good. Let's get to it." Right. Because it's nerve wracking for them. And some of them kick ass, man. Some actors come in and just, they're gripping. Right. But casting is interesting. The pageants, I learned a lot. I asked every single girl that walked in, "What is your experience like on social media?" And all of them had horrible experiences, from the tiniest to 21 years old. And I purposely asked those questions because I was kind of like, even though I was hired, you know what I mean, as one of the judges, I was doing in my head my own little survey to see how these young girls are dealing with social media. And there's a fire, no saint?
I was just about to say like,
Is there a fire, no saint?
I'm listening right now. I don't think it's for me though, but we'll see.
Okay. All right.
it's funny, Jen. Like
Mhm.
the same process that you go through, I
Mhm.
go through the same process when I'm like auditioning musicians
Mhm.
for like sessions and things of that nature. And like the two best drummers that I ever
Mhm.
had like serious anxiety issues.
Mhm.
Like serious anxiety issues, like real serious. And I would tell them, hey man, just relax. And be like, yo man, I'm just sneeze weed, blah blah blah, yada yada. And they would just always again, me anxious and shit like that. But the moment I would say go, them
Mhm.
motherfuckers would just like one take, boom.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
would just no more than one or two takes. They were just incredible. And a lot of the other drummers who came in and were like real lax,
Mhm.
they sucked. They just or they just
Yeah.
couldn't get the feel that I needed. But I wanted to ask you a question.
Mhm.
Um, from the outside looking in
Mhm.
terms of with casting that I'm seeing with casting,
Mhm.
it just seems like this shit is like it just seems like this shit is racist as fuck because motherfuckers that come in there and be like, "You're not being Puerto Rican enough." And like, what? Like, how
Mhm.
is like what is not Puerto Rican enough mean? Like,
No, I've heard that. I've heard that before. I've heard that before. Like, can you read it more Latin? You know what I mean? I've heard shit like that before. And I was like,
and that's kind of not even kind of that's very stereotypical. That's some very stereotypical shit.
and it's
And
because it's
that
because they have a certain way they want to present,
absolutely,
this person, the race or ethnicity. They have a very specific
absolutely.
way they want to present that person. So when you walk in and you're not giving that, it's like, can you be a little? And I'm like,
I
okay.
totally understand that, but what I mean, it kind of harkens to the other point that I'm making, where it's just like in our business perpetuates so many stereotypes.
Oh
We
yeah.
don't really talk about it enough.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Where it's just like you have this idea in your head, like, oh, this is what a white person is supposed to be. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I gotta do my taxes, and oh man, it's cold out here. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
we have this mentality of what a white person is, and it's like, oh, that's not necessarily
I
what
mean,
a white
there's
person should
and
be.
there's two sides of it, right? There's two sides of it. There is, yeah, there is the perpetuation of stereotypes and not giving
Mm-hmm.
a fuck about that person, and then there's the other side where it's just pure ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Like people really don't know that not all Puerto Ricans X, Y, and Z. Like they just think,
Mm-hmm.
but it is because of the perpetuation when we see them on TV, like the maid and the prostitute. It's like, oh, you guys aren't all maids. That's all I've seen my whole life. So what else do y'all do? Which is why I say there's power in the pen. That is why I write. Like I don't sit and complain about the stereotypes. I'm like, I just show another world, right? Now, unfortunately, in my latest writings, fortunately for white people, I gave you all the stereotypes. So if I get that show sold, no saying, and you see it, you'd be like, well, Jen told me she was going to do that.
Well, it's I know. Ironically, I'm a big bald headed black guy right now in the hoodie talking about stereotypes, but this is the irony of it right now. But I just
Oh.
know, I mean, that's one of the things that I noticed, I mean, about show business is that
Mhm.
we perpetuate all these stereotypes, and we perpetuate them because subconsciously the audience can't connect with that character unless it's somewhat of a stereotype. That's
Mhm.
the irony of it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like we expect a particular ethnicity to at
Mhm.
least live up to a
Yeah.
particular stereotype.
And
Yeah.
we're all guilty of it. It's not
Of
like,
course.
black
Of
or
course.
brown people are like, oh, I don't want to be portrayed that way, because when the fuck we are, the shows are number one. 50 Cent has the number one shows, three of them in black households. All his characters are fucking stereotypes. Okay. They're all
All of them.
hood, they're all drug dealers, they're all
One
killers.
dimensional
So,
as a fuck.
right. So let's not pretend that we don't like seeing that as well.
At least Snowfall, there's some dimension to the
No,
character.
Snowfall is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like those
Yeah, man.
characters have lots of layers,
Right,
okay?
right, exactly.
And they share the stereotypes equally amongst the
Of
Mexican, the
course.
black, the white.
Hmm.
Like they all, Snowfall is but it's Walter Mosley. I mean, you know. Mark Randall says, I actually won an acting competition at Universal Studios once. I think I missed my calling. Randy said, remember when YouTubers would call the cops on someone doing live cam? What would we all do if that happens? To no saint. What are you talking about? Those gamers that?
No, yeah, those
Yeah, they used to do that. Yeah, them gamers.
plotting.
I
Yo,
thought
let
they
me tell you
still do
something.
that.
Yo, listen, Jen. You think the regular YouTube streets are brutal? The gamer culture
Oh
on
yeah.
YouTube is vicious.
No, I've heard. I'm like, why? Why do you do these things? Like,
Like they
I've
dodge
seen it.
people, call the cops. Some people like, oh yeah, he's over there. With he's got 3 keys in the house. And all
That's fucking terrible.
he's got keys. All kinds of
Like, what
wild
is
shit.
going on? They need to. I hope that they charge people that do that. They need to be fucking charged.
They couldn't find them.
Now
They
they
can't
can't
find
find them
them
because I mean, well, if you can hide your IP address if you know computers like that. You can hide your shit, man. You can have it where your signal is saying you're in fucking Taiwan right now, and you're
because
really in New Jersey.
I remember that guy got killed because of that
Yes.
stupid
Hmm.
shit. That's
Hmm.
fucked up. That's really fucked up. People are so bunch of assholes.
And then the guy who sent the SWAT team was blaming the guy because he gave him the wrong address.
Yo, this dude's a wild.
Yeah. But Mark Randall, what's a site I can go to find auditions? Actors Access, backstage.com.
Jen, let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, if you had a chance to do it all over again, would you choose acting? Would you go down the road again? Honestly,
I would choose I'd be a pop singer.
really,
Yes.
I
I
have
would
to.
still, I would still choose music. I would still
I would
choose
be
music.
I would choose a pop singer. I've always loved them. But luckily for me, I can write myself to be a pop singer.
Well, let me rephrase that. I actually went full steam ahead with music when a full-on job with Marvel Comics fell through. Because
Oh,
I'm
wait a
also an
minute.
illustrator. I'm also
Oh,
an
nice. Oh,
illustrator.
wait. You're talking about aside from entertainment, what I would be doing?
No, 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 no. I'm just talking about period. If you had a chance to do it all over again and you had a choice, would you have gone into entertainment? Or
No,
would you? Okay.
no,
All
no.
right.
I'd be a DA somewhere in New York
Oh,
City,
okay.
walking in with my fitted Calvin Klein suit, locking motherfuckers up.
But
I can see that.
Like that
listen,
would be, and I would be passionate about it, going to work every single day happy that I am prosecutor of the motherfucking year
So what
up
you're
in court.
basically what you're basically saying is that if you had a chance to do it all over again, you'd still be trying to put a motherfucker in handcuffs.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm super. I would be Kamala Harris. I'd be
Oh
worse.
shit.
I'd be
God
worse.
damn.
I would love to be the prosecutor walking in looking just like this, my Calvin Klein suit, my suitcase,
he's
my
out of there.
briefcase, and I no, come back around. And I would like to be like the woman that walks in and the attorney and the guy who's handcuffed be like, fuck, she's on the case. I'm fucked. That's what I would want. If I had to do it all over again with the opportunity, I would have went to John Jay College. Okay. That is where I would walk in and I would love if people would be like, oh, we fucked. Garcia just walked in. That's what I would be doing. Be walking in.
I'd have most likely been a comic book artist.
Oh
Or
yeah.
either a comic book artist or I would have probably just full on been a computer programmer.
Okay.
Out
Oh,
of the
thank you for
two.
the super chat, Mama. How are you? Creative Mind says, hola. Paz a los dioses y diosas. Okay. She says, hello, peace to the gods and goddesses.
Peace.
Likewise, mama. Likewise. Yeah, but that's what I would do, man. I still like when I watch the movies and I hear the stories and when I talk to my friends who are attorneys, like that's something I know I could have done round the clock and been happy to wake up, because I'm not a structure person. I'm not like 9 to 5. It kills me. But that's something that I would have been happy to wake up in the morning, throw on my little Calvin Klein suit, button up my shit, and be like, who the fuck am I locking up today? Bad.
I studied law for about 2 semesters.
Did you?
It was cool. Yeah, it was cool. Studied law for about 2 semesters.
And then lucky for me, my little, criminal attorney friends, like when I in New York, when I used to go visit them, they used to show me like murder footage, like surveillance video, and we used to discuss it together. And they used to ask me like, well, what do you think? And I would be like, yeah, but how was he not, you know what I mean? How wasn't it murder? Didn't he intend when he walked in? And then my friends would be like, no, because watch the video again. And we're watching like people get killed on surveillance. And I love it. I would have had a passion for that. So instead I'm just cursing people out on YouTube. It's okay.
I mean, you know what? You know, it's real crazy. I get it. You know, what I mean, I definitely get it. I definitely understand it. I can see you thriving
Yeah.
in both of those areas. You know, what I mean, because we are what we are at our core, and
Yes,
we
like
find where we
Kamala
are.
wouldn't have nothing on me. When I hear when they talk about her prosecutorial record, don't come through my court if you don't want to go to
Like,
jail.
just like,
That's how I
God
would have
damn,
been.
so
I would have been
you
like
just
that.
went out
If you
here
don't,
locking niggas up, locking
I
niggas
would.
up. That shit.
I was like, y'all mad at Kamala? You would have hated me. I would have been like, don't come to my court if you don't want to go to prison, sir. That's what I would say before I walk out with my little briefcase. Oh, I would have been hell on wheels. I would have been hell on wheels. I love law. That would have got my adrenaline going. I would have been yelling at the TV like, guys, I like sports. I would have been doing the Tiger Woods.
I used to think, like if I could pick, a dream life, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people I envy. I used to think I wanted, like growing up, I thought, oh man, I wish I was an athlete. But to be honest with you, if I could be like someone creative, like ultra successful, like a rock star or like Elton John with the piano, I envy those people so much, because just Karam might laugh at this. I mean, I always thought it would be cool, but even on Guitar Hero, just acting like I'm playing that music felt good.
Not Guitar Hero.
Felt good. And I can't imagine it. I so admire people that can create things that everybody love. And these songs, like when you think about, like, say, let's just talk about orchestra music. Well, we got John Williams. We talk about John Williams today. But think about all the people from in the past, right, that we're still listening to their music today. There are people, I think, from the 60s, 70s, especially, and maybe 80s, that people will be listening to. Like, when you think about Queen. When you think about Queen, he's been dead since the 90s, and people still know his music. And it's just, man, if I could be a rock star or whatever genre you want to say, on a stage in front of those big stadiums where people are just, I mean, it would be so amazing.
That's what I say about the pop star. Like, to be on stage and there's like 50,000 people yelling your name. I mean, shit.
I think to be at the top of your game in anything is you probably have an amazing, but the entertainment especially, I think, is.
I mean, the life to be that, like, I'll be frank with you. Like, I was groomed to go down that path, and then kind of the music industry went to shit, and Napster happened, and a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
But the life of that is literally, it's isolation. It's just you. It has to be you in the music at all times. It can't be the girlfriend. It can't be the family. Sometimes it has to be every day. When I woke up every day, was you're writing all the time. You're spending 8-10 hours in the studio. You're spending 8-10 hours practicing this. You're spending 8 or 10 hours, you know what I mean, rehearsing. Like, your whole entire life is dedicated to this thing and to be great at this thing. You know what I mean? And in many ways, it can be very, very isolating. All to just get on stage, and when people see you, of course, you make it look, easy, but it's really fucking not, man. You know, even
Well,
if you're
I
supremely
agree.
gifted.
No,
You know
I
what I
totally
mean?
agree. It's nobody ever sees the thousands of hours people put
Oh,
into all this. But what's when it's you always have like okay, so like Mozart was a genius, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah.
right? And when I look at Elton John, he has somebody write words and a melody comes to his head with those words. That's amazing to me. And he if you know the story behind him, he was what do you call it? He went to one of those musical schools. He started playing piano at 4. Those geniuses are. It's just I'm like, wow,
I mean,
how?
I know exactly what you mean because
Yeah,
when I was in a relationship with the singer, to see him, you know, I mean, to be in the studio with him, and then it was the opposite. They give him a melody, and then he's just like he starts singing words, and it's like, and then it matches, and it's like, holy fuck! Like, how do you do that? How do you
yes,
I
just
know, I know you're gonna hate that I might say this, Jay, but
what?
he was really talented. Like, he was really fucking talented.
Haran,
He
Haran.
was, he was really fucking talented.
Can I tell you something? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Haran. First of all, the motherfucker is a certified narcissistic personality disorder psychopath, but he is one of the most talented singers in the game.
I mean, yeah, he was, man. Like, you
Okay,
know, because
he
I
invented and
remember.
perfected. He invented and perfected the five part harmony with
Hmm.
that group. You know that group. I
Hmm.
don't want to say the
Hmm.
name. I'm not going to say the name.
Hmm. Hmm.
But he was that dude. You have to understand. That's why I was drawn to him. The way the octaves and the songwriting and
Hmm.
it was amazing to be around, to be in the studio, it was, I mean, I was, you know what I mean, in a trance. So even he's a crazy motherfucker. He should be behind bars or in the dirt.
Or
But
dead, yeah.
no, or dead, yeah. But that his voice and that talent and the way he used to train people to, I mean, fucking, I mean, so I'm not mad at it at all because I would say
Hmm.
it. Like
You
it is
know,
what it is. A lot of he's crazy, but yeah, that voice was something else. It got me through a lot of bullshit. And then I knew it was over when he tried that shit one night. Like he was like, well, let me sing. Cause I was like, I don't give a fuck. That's how I knew it was over. Because his voice got me through anything. Like, oh, you fucked up again? Okay, sing something, you know. And then that one time, that's when I knew it was over. When I was like, I don't give a fuck what you wrote. That's when I knew I was over. I was like, holy shit, I don't care what he wrote. Because he would always come, I wrote this for you. I was like, what is it? Let me hear it.
yeah.
But
Kevin Samuels goes, yeah. Most musicians have to be narcissistic. You have to be. Okay,
yeah,
I'm narcissistic, you know what I mean, to a degree. I mean, you have to be. You have to believe that what you are doing is of great importance because if you don't do that, it's going to show in your work. You can't
yeah.
be sitting there thinking that you ain't got nothing to offer. You know what I mean? Because it's just going to show in your work. And it's damn sure going to show in
I mean,
in your
I
fucking
think a lot
performance.
of successful people have that
Of
edge. Like
course,
people said that about Kobe. People say
of
that about
course, you have to.
LeBron. People say that
You
about
have
Kevin
to
Hart.
have that. You have to have an ego. If you're going to be great, I mean, great, the type of great that like shifts the conversation.
Right.
No, he's pretty good. Like, oh yeah, he's got potential. No, I mean the type of motherfucker like, oh, he's the shit. He's here. You have to be. You have to have this larger than life personality. You have to believe that I am here. Like, who's coming in second? You have to
Right.
have that.
Like I'm not here to come in second. I remember,
No.
I don't know the basketball player's name, and maybe you guys have seen this video because I don't know about sports. But
Mhm.
there was this guy that said that he would wake up in the morning, a basketball player, I forgot his name. I don't know. And he would wake up in the morning because he was like, fuck that. I want to be the first one on the court to practice. This is what the fuck I do. And he said when he got there, he would see Kobe leaving. Like, oh, you just getting here? And he was like, what fucking time do you wake up to practice? He said Kobe would leave and sweating, like, oh, you just getting here? And he would walk past him and he would be like,
Damn, like yeah,
I
like
forgot his
yeah,
fucking name. But I was like,
like
that is why Kobe was fucking Kobe. He was obsessed with it,
yeah,
like
obsessed with the game.
I used to hear like stories like from some people like behind the scenes about Prince, like the practice sessions and the things he used to do, and I used to think like, well, yeah, I do this, I put in all this work, and I used to hear about his practice sessions, and I'd be like, at what point in time does this motherfucker eat something like this?
No, but
Shit,
look,
just
remember, Prince did like those practice sessions. Then he would do a concert, and
yeah,
then
man,
after the concert, he'd go to a local fucking bar
just to jam
and
out
then
and shit.
play there
Like,
till 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, oh my
yeah,
God.
man, yeah, man, yeah, man.
And then it makes you question yourself, like, do I really want to be free?
Yeah, man. It was just like a lot of the things that he did made me want to work even harder. Like, I'm just not putting in enough work. Like, you know what I mean? You know, because a lot of these greats, man, when
Yeah.
you really think about the work that they put in and the hours that they put in. And Denzel says he doesn't even watch his old shit like that. He just puts so much work into actually doing it, and then after that, he just forgets about it. He just goes on to the next fucking project. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the mentality that you have in
Mm-hmm.
order to be amazing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just the most people don't want to dedicate that much time.
Mm-hmm.
Most people
Mm-hmm.
don't want to dedicate that much time.
At all.
It's so much sacrifice involved in that.
Yeah.
So much sacrifice involved
Thank
in
you so much for this super chat, Miss Ruth. Good to see you. We were just kicking it tonight anyway. It wasn't we didn't really talk about anything serious. Miss Ruth says, missed the show tonight, but want to show support. Good evening, all. Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, you know, the work that goes into it. That's why some people are great.
it. You know who's one of my favorite actors? Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's amazing too.
He's
Yeah.
absolutely fucking incredible. He's
You know, Al
absolutely incredible.
Pacino, he rehearses incessantly. And
I
I
can
was
imagine.
surprised, and I was surprised to hear that. Like he was on an interview and he was like, no, like he rehearsed it. And you would think Al Pacino would just come in like, where's the script? You know, blah, blah. And while you're working with him on set, he is rehearsing continuously. So if you're not up for rehearsing, you do not want to be, you know, opposite Al Pacino. But I think most people would push their mama in front of a train to be opposite Al Pacino.
I still think to this day that scene with him and De Niro in Heat in the diner, it's one of the best scenes I've ever seen, like in film. Like that exchange. You know, I mean, I don't know if you ever seen it. Heat. No, you haven't seen it.
But what about De Niro and Pesci in the desert though?
Casino.
Okay, that's a yeah, you can't. Nah, you can't.
That's a
Not
good one.
that's in its own lane. That's in its own shit. Like, that's kind of like, it's not fair
Oh
to compare shit like
god.
that to that
Yeah.
scene. Like, it's the shit like that is golden. That's its own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's its own thing.
Yeah. No, there's some actors that it's like every time and it's just like, you know,
You know what I
and
mean?
some just
Everything.
I have a superstition. I don't watch bad actors. Like I've never watched like Jennifer Lopez. Like actors I think can't act. I have a heebie-jeebie about watching them
What's
on
your
screen.
definition of bad acting? Like, what's your definition?
Someone who's not present. Someone that you know is aware the camera's over there, the sound guy is over there. I got the AD over here. You can tell when someone's not present. To me, the best acting I've seen are actors that you're not even thinking, and they don't look like they have a 50-person crew around them. They are so very present, the way they breathe, the way they touch things. Like, it's like, look, I don't even care what you're saying right now. Like, they're in their own world, right? Where some actors are very mechanical, and it's like, well, you know, I don't know what you're talking about, so it's whatever. Let me grab this bottle and drink it because it's a prop, and I'll look like a good actor if I have a prop and I use the prop, right? You know, so when you're present is good acting. I don't like when it sounds like you're reading your lines and waiting for the other actor to speak, and that to me is bad acting. I loathe watching people like Jennifer Lopez and some others, like people be like, let's watch this movie. Which I refuse. I have a superstition. I will not, because I feel like it sticks to you. I feel like it sticks. I'm like, no, these are cameras and these are recorders, and I don't want certain actors. I refuse to watch. It's funny because Teyana Taylor just released a movie, and I'm like, yo, you motherfuckers. So, you know, the internet's right. And it was like, oh, she's going to be up for an Oscar. I was like, are you fucking out of your minds? Like, nothing means anything anymore. The woman in the trailer alone, she's like this through the whole thing. This is her acting. I'm just going to crunch up my
She
face.
sounds like a chick from Harlem. She literally just sounds like
Yo, but every scene, every line, it doesn't matter if she's saying, I'm going to use the bathroom. She's like, I'm going to go use the bathroom. Like, no one is ever, you know who does that too? Ice Cube. Like, Ice Cube's son is a better actor than Ice Cube. And I like Ice Cube, but Ice Cube does this thing where everything is intense. People don't live like that in real life. Okay. There are times where you're like, oh, I'm hungry. What did you make? Oh, I'm hungry. What did you make? Like, everything is, who lives like this?
You know, I usually look at the eyes. If a person acts with their eyes, it seems a lot more genuine, because when people speak, you know what I mean, the eyes, you know what I mean, speak as well. Like, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, like, and you know what I mean, if a person's just looking dead at a person and just delivering a line, I'm like, that's not natural. And I also pay attention to how the other actor is acting while the other actor is saying their lines. Are they just sitting there in a very stoic manner waiting for that person to finish their line? And that's like, nah, that's not the way people behave. Like, depending on what the person says, you might see a reaction on a person's face, or you might see a person be getting you know what I mean, behaving in a tedious manner or so on. It's just, that's just the way human beings exchange. I do like to hear, though, like, sometimes Denzel does this, and it's a very and who also does this that makes his acting pretty dope. Jonathan Majors, he throws in filler sometimes in his lines, where it's just like, you know, well, blah blah, you know what I mean, because that's natural shit. Like, people throw in filler in between their words and so on. When a person is just dead on, when a person is just dead on, and the line just sounds like it's rehearsed and delivered, then it sounds like a speech. Then it's just like, okay, this doesn't. And I was like, nah, this isn't, and there's no inflections really. You know, then
that's my issue with this movie that's dropping with Teyana Taylor. There's no inflection. Like, everything is here. Like, well, what do you think? I don't love you anymore. Like, everything is there. There's no one lives like that. No one talks like that throughout the day. And you know, but you know, the internet, like, nothing means anything anymore. Awards don't mean anything anymore. Cloud, like, it doesn't mean anything anymore. So now they're online talking about, oh, she may get an Oscar for this. For what? For what? What is she gonna get an Oscar for? I'm so sick of you, internet people. Stop typing. Shut the fuck up. I feel like Joe Budden. Stop typing. Stop typing. You sound stupid.
You're making me think that there has to be a different style for people that act in, like, TV and movies. I mean, obviously TV and movies, but I'm thinking about the soap operas. The guys always talk like this. Yeah, they have their sexy voice on all the time, and you don't understand. You don't understand how much I love you. I would have never done that to you.
You know who speak like that? The whole family, the Baldwins.
Oh,
yeah, they do.
Alex, Steven, they all have that raspy thing. Miss Ruth says, I saw Denzel perform on Broadway during Shakespeare. His intensity flew off the stage, and the man is huge, tall, muscular, wide, like a stallion. I saw Denzel. He did Fences on stage.
How was
it was amazing. I mean, it was Denzel, Viola Davis. I did see him do a mistake, and I was like, oh shit, Denzel just fucked up a line. How sexy is that? I just saw Denzel fuck up. Benicio del Toro is very underrated. Oh my God,
yes. He is. Yes, he is, man.
To what Haran was
He's one of my favorites.
Didn't Daniel Day-Lewis retire?
Did he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He retired from the world. You know, it's really funny that the way you measure actors, I measure musicians.
Mm.
I'm not really into the musicians who don't speak with their instruments.
Yeah.
Like, and here's what I'm saying: like phrasing and learning how to speak with the instrument, not the incessant. You're just banging on the fucking instrument and you're just like wailing, and it's just like there's no pauses, there's no
Mm.
because spaces within themselves when you're composing,
Mm.
that is very much a an important component. You know what I mean? Because it gives the opportunity, it gives the listener an opportunity to listen to what you're communicating in a particular melodic phrase, and then they wait, and then they're hearing and then they're hearing the next one, and then the next one. When you're just sitting here just feeding sound down somebody's face, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Because you just want to show off. That's when it starts sounding like noise to me.
Mm.
You know, and the public can tell the difference. You know, the
Mm.
public can tell the difference. Like Prince was very, I bring him up again because the reason why his guitar playing is so amazing is because not only was it very melodic, it was also it also sounded like someone singing, and
Mm.
it followed the mechanics of a person singing in terms of phrasing, intonation, you know what I mean, inflection, so on and so forth. You know, so it's a very amazing thing if you learn how to do that.
Yeah. No, Saint, you want to see me? You want to see me act like the guys act with sports? You watch me watching a movie and a great actor. Like I am like, I'm telling you, my friends would be like, yo, you literally on the edge of your seat because when I see a monologue happening, I'm like, get it. I knew it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that shit landed. Did you see what he did? And then my friends would be like, what? I'm like, did
What's
you
the
see
last
how
movie
he
that had you like
delivered
that?
that line? Oh, good question. Because I see actors do it every now and then. Um, the last movie I saw in the theater. What was the last thing I saw in the theater? That's a good question.
I know what I
Okay,
want.
I'll go way back when I saw Charlize Theron in Monster.
That was a good movie.
It's a
Yeah.
good one.
Okay,
Good one,
I
man.
saw it by myself,
Good one.
right? Because sometimes I go by myself to study. I left the theater. I was in the lobby. I left the theater. I called my mom. I was like, Ma, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know how the fuck I can get from here to what I saw. And my mother was like, what are you talking about? What's going on? And I'm like, I just saw Charlize Theron in Monster. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I can't go from here to there. Like that really had me like what she did to her body, how present she was, and how just she embodied this grossness and the brutality of that
Yes.
role. Like I was like, whole like even when she was in the bathroom, like washing herself and she's at her mannerisms, and I was like,
Amazing. It was amazing. It
it's
That was
was
a
it
good
very
just
much
movie.
it's,
amazing.
it sticks with you.
I want to
Um,
see. I want to see the whale. I really want to see the whale.
I'm glad he got himself a nice solid comeback, man. Because
yeah,
for a very long time,
I
man,
heard it was good.
he was down and he was really down in the dumps. He was really having just a hard time. And he's just not a he's one of those guys in Hollywood where you just kind of can feel like he doesn't seem like a bad guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right. Right.
there's some guys that I'm just like, yeah, they're good. You know what I mean? Like he
Mm,
deserves it. You know what I mean? But him, he's always been kind of, and I've never heard anything bad about him behind the scenes. You know
mhm.
what I mean? I've heard a ton of shit about Kevin Spacey though. You know what I mean? You know, and that Frank Underwood character, I don't think he was acting too much. You know, hell of an actor though. You know what I mean? You
but
know,
but
Kevin
but to bring
Spacey's
it
a hell
back,
of an actor.
but Daniel Day Lewis, he's one of those actors that lives the character while
Yes,
he's
he
doing
does. He disappears into the
method.
role. And for
Yes.
me, I don't know if Jen remembers this. Like we got into a debate online
Mhm.
on Facebook years ago, and we were going back and forth about Lawrence Fishburne and Denzel Washington. And
No, I don't
I
remember.
said, I said that Denzel has a much bigger catalog,
Mhm.
but I felt that he was on par with the skills that Denzel had, and in some ways better than Denzel. I think that Lawrence could have pulled off Training Day easily. I think Lawrence could have pulled that off easily. Probably eclipsed him. I think he could have. But Lawrence is lazy. Lawrence did a whole. He didn't really live up to a lot of his potential. I think he could have been
I
a
don't
lot
know. I
better
don't
than.
know if to answer your question, the movie that I saw, the last one was Creed, and Jonathan Majors. I felt like that about his performance. Like I feel like he stole
Yeah,
it from Michael B. Jordan.
he did. He did very much.
But
He
with
acted.
but
Excuse
the
me. Go ahead.
villain, no, the villain. I mean, the villain usually does, right? And,
Yeah.
and
A
even when
good
we
villain.
watch, even when we watching comic book movies, we're like
Right, right.
we're being held.
When the villain does steal it, it makes it a lot more interesting because it's kind of like
Mm,
it's a story is always only as good as its villain.
Hmm.
That's it.
mhm,
Like the entire Star Wars franchise. Let's just keep it real. The entire
mhm,
Star Wars franchise is about Darth Vader. That's it. If it wasn't
mhm,
for fucking Darth Vader, nobody would give a fuck
mhm,
about
mhm,
fucking Star Wars. Luke
mhm.
Skywalker was dope. You know what I mean? Yoda was dope. Blah blah blah. But if it wasn't for fucking Darth Vader, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because he, in a sense, was the quintessential boogeyman. Like,
Mhm.
and in a lot of ways, Thanos became our generation's Darth Vader in the way they dressed him up, where he became that boogeyman.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I didn't think Marvel was gonna be able to pull that off that great. Like,
Mhm.
what I mean? I was looking at it like, okay, let me see how well they pull this off because for me that storyline, that comic book storyline with the Stones, it was a big storyline for me, and I loved it. But I was like, how are they going to pull this off? And they pulled Thanos off incredibly.
I gotta say, I'm hoping, if nothing else crazy comes out of it, because I love Jonathan Major's work. He's one of the actors I was mentioning that's very present in the
Yes,
scene. You could
yes,
see that in the diner when he was in Creed, when he was talking to Michael B. Jordan, right? And you
hmm
you you felt like this guy just got out of prison.
you did
Like he
though.
just
He
got
had
out
the
of prison.
mannerisms too. He had the mannerisms of a
Oh,
dude who just came
for
home. I
sure.
was just
I'm
like,
sure. I'm sure he studied it.
hmm
But as far as Denzel and Lawrence Fishburne, I gotta disagree
hmm
because I think Lawrence Fishburne would have gave us, as Alonzo in Training Day, he would have gave us the guy that he gave us in King of New York.
you think
That's what
so?
I think that's what he would have gave us. Because when you think about it, the guy in King of New York was kind of like that. You remember King of New York?
I remember.
I think
Christopher
that's
Walken.
how he. I think that's how he would have played Alonzo.
Okay,
That's how I think he would have played Alonzo.
okay.
And I love me some Lawrence, but Denzel just has layers. Now, with that said, and I'm gonna blaspheme right now. I'm gonna blaspheme, but Denzel got to the point where he kept giving us Denzel.
Well, do you think that I understand where you're going with this? However, I was talking to a casting director,
Hmm.
and he came up with his own theory. I don't know if he heard about this. I don't know,
Hmm.
but he was basically saying that after a while, the studio was paying him essentially to give them Denzel
Hmm.
in that fucking film. Because I guess after you reach a certain
I
level,
believe.
yeah, they want you to look, man, just give me Denzel in the diner. Give me Denzel as a security guard. Give me Denzel as a hitman. You know what I mean? Because I guess that brand is what pulls the people into the seats.
Yeah,
You don't
and
necessarily
Hollywood.
have that space.
And Hollywood doesn't want to stray. They will not. They're like, this is what works. The Latinas are maids. The black guys are thugs. They do not like to stray, to the point where when you're shopping a project like I am right now, they want to know, great, what is this like? Before you open your mouth, they want to hear the comparison of something that's already a hit. They don't even care what you've written. They don't care what world you come from. In a pitch deck, you literally have to, on the bottom, put examples of what your show is similar to. That's how serious Hollywood
And who's
is
connected to
about.
it? and who's
Yes.
connected to it.
You have to on your pitch deck. You cannot pitch your pitch deck with your idea. Oh, great, you have an idea. What show is this like already? You know, a show that's out and popular. That's what we need to know, Jen. You literally have to add it to the bottom of the pitch deck. Okay, well, my show is a mix of this and a mix of this. Even if you don't want to, you got to compare your shit to something else because Hollywood is like, what is this like? So I believe that they paid Denzel to give us Denzel. I grew tired of it. I was just like, he's giving,
Well,
it's the same nuances and the
you're an
same,
actor's actor. You're an
you know
actor's
what I
actor.
mean?
You know what I mean? You're an actor's actor. After a while, look, man. After a while, look, the actors and the musicians, they can push a brand oh so far. After a while, it's the casuals and it's the popcorn eaters that take a brand to the next fucking level. You know what I mean? And you were dealing with what's it? Someone when you're dealing with. I would assume though that you see here's the thing about Hollywood that's really kind of just crazy because it's like the first 2 weeks is like make or break for any fucking movie. Like the first 2 fucking weeks, man. You know what I mean? And if you're not all out the gate, looking like you're about to at least reach projections or blow past projections, it's just like they're ready to either dub your shit a failure or a runaway hit, and that's a lot of pressure on a lot of people. Like Jen, like I assume that people probably who probably had a shot who got a shot at a big production and the production didn't fly the way that it should have, and maybe that was the last fucking time those motherfuckers got a shot at the big time.
Someone comes to mind immediately. Was working with one of the biggest directors. The director put in $10 million of his own fucking money, and the movie blew ass because they didn't know how to market it to a Latin back then to a Latin audience, because people think that just because we all speak Spanish, we're all going to watch the same thing. But our cultures are very different. Colombians, Venezuelans, El Salvadorians, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Mexicans, we all have our own shit. That's why Bad Bunny, side note, is such a phenomenon, because when you go to his concerts, you see every single person on the planet that speaks Spanish at that concert. And I've never seen anything like that before. The Dominicans have their artists. The Puerto Ricans have their artists. The Mexicans have their artists. Bad Bunny fills it. If you speak Spanish, you are in that audience. But that's now. So back then, this person I'm talking about, working Hollywood director, gave him a script. Let's do this movie. Great movie. I went to the theater. Nobody was there. And the director was calling me like, Jen, are you at the theater? How many people there? I was like, some people walking out. Nobody's here. You know what I mean? So it was bad. And he lost 10 mil because, usually they're getting other people to fund it. But he believed in this shit so much. And let me tell you something. If he was still alive today, he'd still be cursing about it, because every time he was like, fuck that, never again. And he had to rebuild that 10 million because he believed in the project. He was like, oh, there are 500 million. Yeah. It was, he was like, they're like 500 million Latins in the world. Everyone's going to go out and see this movie. But you can't market to Latins that way unless you're Bad Bunny.
No, and I think that we're Hollywood in America.
Yeah, 10 mil.
We're Hollywood in America. The reason is, okay, we're our proximity to, especially California, to Mexico. So that's what they think. And the fact that, like you're saying, everything's stereotyped.
Right.
So the average person thinks all people that speak Spanish must be like Mexicans, or must be, because that's where our proximity is, not in New York so much, but I'm talking about like California. But
so now honestly, with reggaeton and shit, I'm riding that wave because I'm like, I speak Spanish. I put that into my script. Reggaeton is now what I mean, it's joining all the Latins, because all the Latins from all over the globe like reggaeton.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. It's really fucking crazy. I miss two boats in my life. I miss reggaeton and I miss K-pop. I miss both of those fucking boats. You
Mhm.
know, a couple of my boys, you know what I mean, I'm in the studio or whatever, you know what I mean, they playing, you know what I mean. Yeah, at the time it just really kind of came around. It was a new sound, it was like maybe
Mhm.
10, 15 years ago.
Mhm.
And he was like, yeah, this is shit popping on right off right now. It's called reggaeton, blah blah blah. And they started
Mhm.
playing it. I was like, shit ain't nothing but reggae with Spanish for me. Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
And to see what it became now, I'm like, oh shit, I should have fucking jumped on it. And I also should have jumped on K-pop because my boy had an in on that shit. And I was like, man, what the fuck is this? This shit'll never fucking work. And lo and behold, if I had just jumped into that shit, you know what I mean, I'd at least made like maybe a mil or two. At least. Jesus,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's like reggaeton now. I'm like, shit, you think I'm not gonna write this into my script? Shit. And I speak Spanish. Mira, olvídate de eso. Yo voy para allá. Okay. I was like, let's go. Yes, this girl's all about the reggaeton. And I put the artist in there. Like, you have, I was like, here it is. Here's my boat. It's finally here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I've been waiting. I'm good. I'm packed. Let's get in there. So that's why I feel like I have really good, you know what I mean, prospects for this project. People are like, the Afro-Latins are in now too. So it's like, so I got it all. Let's
Isn't
get it.
that a thing? That's crazy now, right? That's the
Yeah.
thing now.
Yeah.
Afro.
We're in now. We're in. So I have to ride. Yes, I'm in the boat. I'm getting involved. Excuse me. They're waiting for me. Excuse me. Pardon me. Excuse me.
Because there was a time when it was said that black people couldn't speak Spanish. Like that was unheard of.
Hmm.
Like wow, wow, that's really crazy. You know what I mean? That has become. But hey, ride that wave, man. Get them
Yeah.
bags, man.
You damn right. And it's like, if it, aside from the obvious, like, let's get these bags, it feels good because we've been invisible for so long. Not to get
Mhm.
into the whole, oh, what about us? But it's true. It was like no one was checking for us, right? So now it's like it's the new thing. It's like, where the Afro Latins at? Right here, bitch. I've been waiting. That's where that I'm right here. Okay. But it's like we're in now, and it's good to see because growing up watching the Telemundo and Univision, like we were literally the maids and the butlers, though we were the same ethnicity of the motherfuckers, you know what I mean, in that owned the mansion. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not adding up. But Univision and Telemundo was all about that white, I call them white Tinos, the
Yeah.
white looking Latins, I call them white Tinos. That is what they are, like the Jennifer Lopez and the Ricky Martins. I'm like, there's a whole other side. Like my dad, you know what I mean, you guys resemble in complexion and everything. So I'm like, there's a whole other side. Like I didn't grow
Yeah.
up with the white Tinos. So I'm like, when we went to Puerto Rico, or maybe it was Christmas or a baptism, I would see the white Tinos, right? But I'm like, that's not my experience. We didn't use the same hair products. We're not listening to the same music. I'm listening to, you know what I mean? My dad loved James Brown and my mom loved Barry White, and I'm listening to Motown and I'm getting my hair braided. It's a whole different experience, except we speak Spanish. So we were like stuck in the middle, not black enough, not Latin enough, not, you know what I mean? So it's
I I
interesting,
didn't
interesting.
I didn't know about what I mean the white Tinos until I became like maybe 9 or 10,
Really?
maybe even 11. Nah, because I mean, Jen, you know what I mean? Come on, back then, you know what I mean? Everyone looked like you or darker. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it was just like, you know what I mean? When I got older, it was like, wow, this is like white looking motherfuckers out here
Mm-hmm.
speaking Spanish. And then when I learned, I'm like, oh, these is the sellouts. That's what I called them. That's what I thought of. I was like, oh, these the Spanish coons. That's what I thought they were. You know what I mean? Because
Listen, nobody, I don't care what nobody says. Thank you so much, Creative Mind. Says, Vive tu vida, live your life. That's right, man. Listen, out loud. Okay. Like LOL don't even mean laughing out loud. It's living out loud. LOL. Um, I was gonna say, what was I talking about? Oh, if anyone has taken advantage of being white adjacent, hands down, Latin people.
Mhm.
No, not a light skinned black person on the planet, not a hands down, light-skinned, white-skinned Latin
I've seen them.
people have taken full
And they
advantage
married
of
white.
at presenting white.
They married white too. They make sure to
Yes,
marry white. Yeah,
they say.
they get the hell up out of there. You know what I mean? And shit. You know, but some of them. I remember one. She was very much very passing. And then I met her family, and I met her dad, and that motherfucker was darker than me.
Mm-hmm,
I was like, oh, this is your daddy. Oh
mm-hmm,
yeah, I see what this is. I see
yeah,
what this is. Classism is a motherfucker. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because
yeah,
when
Cox.
you know what I mean, when you see, I mean, and you see it in all walks of life. You know what I mean? I've seen when people can pass for the, I guess we can call it the preferred, you know what I mean, race, you know what I mean, or
Dominant,
the
dominant
race,
culture.
you know what I'm saying, exactly, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
the majority culture. I'm not saying dominant, sir. You know what I'm saying, when we can we're not giving that to white folks over here. Where
Mm-hmm,
we say majority here.
mm-hmm.
You know? But you know what I mean, when people can pass, you know what I mean, cohorting with the majority culture, they take full advantage of it, man. They take full advantage of it, whether it
Yeah,
be white
answering
or
Privilege.
whatever.
How about the privilege? Yeah.
I mean,
answering Cox. Yes, Cardi B is Afro-Latina. She is. She is.
because
Um,
Asians swear they white half the goddamn time the way they be acting.
yeah, but that's the thing. Like Asians can't hide being Asians, but
Hmm.
White Tinos could hide being Latin. They take for, and they're very again, our experiences are interesting because I
Cameron
never,
Diaz.
huh?
Cameron Diaz.
Oh my God, Cuban my ass, Cuban my ass. Okay, um, they're very. I guess
I
we.
forgot
I'll chalk
she's.
this up. I'll chalk
I
this up to
forgot.
proximity. I'll chalk it up to proximity. But um, the most racist people I've encountered were white Tinos, not white people. But we can play the proximity card and be like, well, you were around more white Tinos than you are white people. But even still, when I worked corporate, it was nothing but white people. And I gotta say, and I mean blatantly racist. Like, of course, I worked around white people that were racist. I didn't fucking know. They didn't tell me, right? But outwardly racist by far, white Tinos, by far. Like the shit that they say to Afro Latinos out loud, by far, right? And white people have never said the things that I've heard, maybe behind closed doors, but white Latins, um, I always thought J Lo need to do the Iris Chacon. They have so much in common. I don't know about that. Um, Good night, creative mind. All right, guys. So I think we're done here.
All right. A wonderful night.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Jen, when you get the opportunity, go see John Wick.
Oh no, yeah. I want to see it. 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 It's just that I know guys love those type of movies, but I tire of movies where it's like 500 bodies and lots of the last John
I
Wick I saw, I was like,
mean,
I got tired of people. I got tired of seeing people get shot and fall to the ground. I felt like I was watching a video game. I was like, where's the storyline? I'm tired of seeing people get shot. Like,
it's a hell of a storyline for this one though, because
good, good.
I'm
Give
not
me
gonna
something.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but the overall point of it was that when you kind of think about it, the overall point of it was that they were asking the question, well, what is the exit plan on all this? Because it started out with a puppy and a fucking car, and
Right,
here we
right.
are. You got all these fucking people involved in it. You're getting people killed. Like, was it
Mhm.
really all worth all this fucking shit?
Right,
And it
right.
really, there was this. existential crisis thing that kind of happens in the movie that made it interesting. It was just another layer of John Wick was visited in the movie, and it was a very satisfying layer where it gave it even more dimension than what it was previously. Because the last one, even though three, I love three, but in many ways it was just a fucking slaughterhouse. Three was just a fucking, chapter three was just a fucking slaughterhouse. But four, there's some story attached to this.
You know
That's
who I'd
really
like to
dope.
see come back? I'd like to see Jason Bourne come back. I like that. I like that series.
That was dope.
I was
That
all
was
about
dope.
Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne. All right, guys. So we are out of here. This was cozy. I wanted. Oh shit! You see that? You see that? Take. You like, all right. Okay. So I'm checking out the gains. All right, guys. So we will see you on Monday or Tuesday. I don't know. Tuesday is gonna be Fuego. We are going to address burly things
Uh-oh.
and her minions. Yeah, no Saint. We going there. So you better have your bell ready. It's gonna be all about race.
I will. Well,
That's gonna be an
I
ugly
will
one.
get on after I'm at the game Tuesday. I'm at the game. So,
Okay. So what time?
let's see. The game starts at 7,
Oh.
which is what, 5 your time, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, oh, speaking of the game, it was like opening day here in St. Louis for the Cardinals, I think. And so I'm outside and I'm going to handle some stuff. And it's the end of the game, man. And I'm just surrounded by just waves of white people in red. And it just something just oddly racist felt. It just felt racist. But so strange, even like I'm just surrounded by this like white people in red. And it's just I know there's a racial undertone here.
Something.
It's here though. I can't put my finger on it, but it's here.
You're like, okay, who got the tiki torches?
Yeah, exactly. There's something here about it, man.
All right, guys, we are out of here. See y'all next week. Be good. Be good. Be
night.
good. Enjoy the
Yes,
rest of your
sir.
night. No Saint. Oh, I know Saint left. All right. Well, love you all. Good night. Have a great night, guys. We will see you next week. Hit that like and subscribe if you're still here. Don't forget you support the show. Cash App on the Block with Jen. Thank you so much to everyone who super chatted me tonight and held me down in the chat. Thank you for all the comments, you guys. And I will see you next week. Hope you enjoyed. This was a light night, but it was fun. Sometimes we just kick it. Good night, guys.